We're back for the second day of the V4 Future Sports Festival 2021. We've reached the main event. Yesterday was the opening long day, a bunch of best of ones, some upsets coming through, then a bit of normality being restored as well, and then we had the best of threes, which at least did give us a bit of worry when it came to Gambit at first, and then they just did their thing. Then they closed it out nice and early. I've got the two fine gentlemen on the side of me, Drowlon, having to deal with all the madness that is not only just being an analyst, but also having to watch your boys in games. But yesterday didn't make you lose too much hair?
No, not really actually. A lot of positive signs from Big coming in, I guess. Obviously not wanting to jinx it. We'll see how it matches up in a best of three environment. But so far what I saw from them on Mirage just does give me a bit more confidence.
Yeah, they looked like in control the whole game. I don't think they had any issues whatsoever. A little bit of economy fight at the beginning, but they won that and just took off with the victory.
And Kassad, we're just making sure we split you and Yanko just a little bit, we can't have you the whole time just next to each other. We see what happens.
It would be good if you're like on a different continent. But,
so that's the real reason you went over to America,
Of course. I mean, what was the other one?
Escaping Yanko.
Yeah, just run away from him, run away from home just to get away from him.
And I want to get your opinion on the Gambit situation as well, right? Because they lost the best of one. Okay, you can give them the jitters of that. Then they come back into it. Then they had that really close game, right? Where it was in overtime and you're thinking, wait a second, Gambit, you shouldn't even been in this scenario. This is Mirage, you should be able to hit hard enough. But then we go on to overpass and they absolutely dominate their opposition, right? They didn't let off the gas at all. So where do you guys sit with them right now? Are you fully thinking, okay, they're still the favorites here? Or do you think like a big or maybe even an Entropic could come through and take them down again?
No, they're definitely the favorites here. I mean, what happened yesterday in that first map on Mirage, it just proves that no teams right now in the current state of CS are completely harmless, right?
Yeah.
They can all shoot, and if you get rounds going, that it can be dangerous for them. Luckily for Gambit, they got a little bit scared and they didn't get that victory, and then the second map is just like pure dominance from Gambit.
Yeah, I wouldn't read too much into that opening game as well. There are some teams in these best of one formats, had a cold start, but then warm up as the tournament progresses. I think the only thing to talk about here will be the T side of Gambit. How they can improve on that during the tournament.
Yeah, it's definitely going to need some work. We're going to take a look through on the group side of things as well that we've got here and where we've been at when it comes to Group A. These are the scores, the ones we were starting to talk about. The Fiend one, obviously, we said this team, right, they are a LAN team. Fiend can do some damage. They certainly did catch Gambit by surprise, but we all were questioning the Dust 2 pick coming in there. Then Mirage, when we say Big going up against Isuba, Big really didn't let off them at all towards the end, right? It took a few more rounds to close that up, but no general problems. And the Gambit one we've already touched on. If we have a look at Group B as well. And Group B gives us straight away, Entropic just came out with this.
Yeah, came out swinging, yeah.
It wasn't just swinging, right? It was playing to perfection, right? Yeah. Because they were smashing them in terms of the actual raw skill, but they also weren't making the mistakes you can often see.
Yeah, definitely. They just showed pure force. They just showed the current form, They're playing really strong CS right now. They feel like a unit. They look like a unit on the server, off the server. It's just a result of all that. 16-2 Sinners that are in a bad kind of form right now. They just dropped down completely and they didn't have any answer for them. You see them losing in the second game as well and then dropping out from the tournament.
And I also do want to touch on Enterprise, right? Because this is a team that we didn't even expect to make it to the main event. They've been putting some work in. I actually had a message from their coach. He's a new coach that's coming, hasn't been officially announced. He's not here at the event, he couldn't get here in time, but he's doing the work in the background. He's making sure he can put that
good
play in.
That's some good work.
And it obviously paid off because Movistar Riders is not an easy team to take out.
Yesterday, that game on Overpass, like on CT's side, they did everything a proper, experienced team would do on the CT. They were active, they were doing setups and everything. Movistars had no answer to that. And then T side wasn't so good, to be honest. They got some scrappy rounds, but it was enough, it was enough to get the win.
Definitely.
As well as Movistar being a type of team, which plays quite a safe CS, not taking huge gambles, so on. And an underdog like Enterprise can abuse that if needed.
They certainly can. Now, what we also got to look at, right, when it comes to this event is that some of these teams have been able to play here a little bit longer because they came through the play and they've got the adjustment to it. But how much are we putting that in to be a factor of it all?
Just the first best of one.
And then it's fine, you should be used to it after that?
Then it should be fine. There is no excuse after that. Not that kind of excuse after that, You're setting up for kind of feeling the PCs, feeling the environment. After that, this should be all good.
Kassad, did you write this one, Sinners and Asuba checked out? That sounds like one you would go for?
I mean, me or Yanko. One of us.
We we got our country representation here, right? In terms of when we look at the Russian side, 8 players coming out for that overall. The Czech players, sadly, obviously had a bit of a drop in between where they were and where they weren't when taken out of it. Now only 2 left. The solo Dane coming out from Big as well, you know?
You always need Danish CS at the tournament.
Just has to have some in some way.
Has to be there.
And our little, we've got the 2 Kazakhstani ones in there at the same time as well. Hobbit playing off to fly the flag alongside one of the Atropic boys. Who is it? Alien?
Ain't sure, to be honest.
I know it's one of them.
I think it's Lucky, actually.
Lucky, there we go.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
From Atropic, yeah.
Learn about our distribution of countries in here. Obviously, no UK players ever because we might slowly get there.
Your guys are doing very well right now. You know,
very lucky.
Messi, Alex, and Owen, Smuja, they're doing very well right now for themselves. Fnatic is playing really good. So,
finally.
You know,
Should be a matter of time, yeah.
After many, many years, we finally have
UK core.
Ever since Easy Skins, of course.
Oh, yeah, oh my God, yeah. How long ago was that?
2015,
Jeez.
I think.
Ages.
6 years ago.
Been waiting a while for sure. Now, one thing I do want to look at before we go into these games as well is Big's performance yesterday. I was very happy with for sure. How confident are we feeling though with what they might feel, considering like they've got the new coach feeling to them, you know? Is that going to give them a little boost in here? Is we going to finally see Big to have some success? Because it has been quite downhill for you guys.
Yeah, if you're Big, you're coming into this tournament with expectations, right? So you made a change in the coaching role. You have been working on your map pool, so this is really where you show, you know, the work that you put on in the past 2 weeks. This is where the work has to like bear its fruits, right? And that's why I believe, especially this game against Fiend, you know, we get to the veto later, but this is where we'll see, okay, how much did that map pool improve?
The question is what direction they take in that veto, right? Obviously, Dust 2 is going to be somewhere in there, right? I would like to see from Big leaving it because it's not going to, you know, nobody's going to ban it. So it's going to stay there at least as a decider.
Decider's
you know?
fine, yeah.
So I would like them to go for something like more spicy in terms of, I don't know, their map pool. Obviously, they cannot play Vertigo because Fiend is banned and removing it all the time. So they can go maybe for Ancient or something like that to like mess with their defaults, mess with their like rotations because they're not a team. Right now they're a mix, right? And they have this like ships coming in. It's going to be a problematic in all this basic stuff, and then maybe they can get a win like on their own pick on that.
Okay.
Because Dust 2 is going to be there.
Yeah, exactly.
Nuke is an option, definitely.
And they played it last time the 2 teams faced off against each other.
And we know
as well.
how Fiend went in the first group stage on Nuke, so that can be a good option for Big, I think.
Yeah.
And looking at the maps in general that we've seen played out here, right? Vertigo, I know you want to see some more of it. Casada's still only there on just twice. Overpass is being played a bit more than maybe what you'd expect. Obviously, Gambit coming in as well. It's going to be a keen one for sure. It's alongside Movistar. Inferno, Nuke though, Mirage, all right at the top there in terms of numbers and how they've been played out. Nuke still continues to be a map that used to be like the most hated into becoming one of the more popular ones now.
It's the best map in the game right now, definitely. I mean, you can see Dust 2 and Vertigo on 2. At least Vertigo is not dead last. That's good enough for me. But yeah, Nuke is one of the best maps you can play right now. It says so many options on both sides of the game. So Inferno is just pretty much classic, you know, map. So it's safe pick, safe, you know, decider as well. So
if you look at these maps, you know, Inferno and Mirage are like staples for these teams, right? These are maps which everyone knows how to play, and then the Nuke came in during the play-ins as that one-off map where the upsets happened, right?
Yeah. Well, let's see how things go across the rest of the games today and what maps we'll get. Maybe Casada will get some more Vertigo to come through for him. But what I also want to do is see some more of the hype, the emotions, and everything that came out the back of yesterday. A lot of hype coming out of yesterday, and okay, you even saw that from Gambit, who's not quite normally the most emotional team, but that's how close some of these games got from that they needed to get that little bit of extra oomph out of it.
That's a LAN feeling for you.
Yeah.
Movistars as well, probably responsible like 70% of the emotions.
I was about to say, most noise was coming out of Movistars for sure, right? Every round, every moment that was coming through there, they were screaming, they were shouting, they wanted it bad.
Yeah, they did. And they got it.
They did. Got there in the end.
In the end, yeah. In the end, after the scary best of one.
It took a half, but
I mean, Sinners just played one game like they usually are, right? And we have like we can see here Fiend and Big playing now, and I'm gonna see the maps soon, I guess.
Yeah, we've got a little bit of time to discuss obviously what we're doing with these boys, but let's start with Fiend, right?
Yeah.
Because Fiend came into this and things were not looking amazing for him, right? We have the caveat of ships coming in, you think what's going to happen here? But they showed up, right? They've delivered when needed, and they seem to be getting better game after game. There's more experience, more comfortable. Poor Bubble is still having to do everything himself, but they did have their coach behind him yesterday.
Is that the coach?
I get, well, someone's behind him. I'm just going to give him the coach name.
Ships is not like, standing in is not the only problem for them, right? The fact that you just mentioned, like, Bubble had to do everything. Coach, analyst, God knows what else, you know, best friend, sister, brother, you know, God knows, right? So it's very stressful, right? And then...
I'm impressed he could be a sister and a brother, you know? This is
and then... You can, like, they have a difficult first group stage, right?
Yes.
Like, barely managed to scrape a victory against Wisla, was it? In the elimination game. And then yesterday they show force. I don't know why Gambit left Dust too, but they just used it against them. Played like a full-on team. You can even see that there is no, like, Dreamer was playing great. You know, they didn't look like a mix. They looked like a team, right? They got a really convincing victory. I thought it was supposed to be 16-6 for them, you know, the way they played. And now they're coming to play against Big, who is, you know, another accomplished, very well-structured team.
Exactly, and this is one where at least
it's a best of three.
And if they do their research right as well, that's something they can read into with it. It's depending on how much Big has changed with obviously the new coach coming in, Gade also being there as well. But this scoreline, you mentioned it. You guys don't have the best luck, Drowler, when it comes to going against the Bulgarian teams. First of all, you said about Skade, and now you've got Fiend in this one. Does make you a little bit nervous?
Yeah. So this one was from the Eliza Cup, I believe. You know, it was something that we played between two big tournaments, and obviously.
So you rolled out the excuses already. Okay,
yeah. You know, it's just I'm just a PR guy for them at this point. No, I think the map pool there is very interesting, right? Because if you look at the veto for that one, like no one really had the balls to pick Dust 2 against each other. So basically, that Dust 2 was floated until like the second ban round, where Fiend eventually banned it. But Big did go for the nuke there, and then Fiend coming in with the Inferno pick. You know, I think we might see something similar actually today. I have to disagree with you there. I do have a feeling that Dust 2 will be floated again, because
I don't know how this will change, because Ships is there. It's not a full team. Victor is not there, right? I don't know how that changes into their, you know, thinking. Like, how do we go for a all strong pick or a punish pick or whatever it is, right? So we're gonna get to see it soon. But I would like to see, like I said, from Big, something alongside Nuke, and then maybe, just maybe, Fiend goes for that Dust 2, and then we have an Impermanence, a Decider, or Mirage. But you know, you never know, I guess.
The veto is going to be spicy, that's for sure. But you know what I do want to do? I want to hear from Gade, because he's the newest member to this team, speaks fluent and perfect German. But is he good enough now to bring Big back up to the top? Let's hear from him.
I feel very good being back at LAN. I think this is what our CS players we live for, and being at LAN is just a different feeling, you know, sitting close to your teammates. You can hear all like the cameras, and people are, you have smoke, you have all the screens and different lights and such, so it's just a great feeling and good atmosphere here in Budapest. Well, best of ones, and you never really know what to expect coming, like a team like Super coming from the play-in tournament. I think we were definitely expecting them to do some random stuff, so we kind of made a good game plan. I think Tapson, he did an insane calling on the T-half, and that definitely helped us winning the game. Definitely I won a rematch against Fiend. Last time we played them was online, and they beat us 2-0 pretty convincingly, so I'm looking forward to show a better Big, and also to play a best of 3 here on LAN. That would be so good. Well, I did say in an interview yesterday that I want to play Gambit in the final, so we'll have to see who the semifinal is going to be, but that could potentially be Gambit if they go through as second. But yeah, we'll see how the tournament turns out. I think all the teams here are very cool, and you have a lot of new names, new upcoming and surprising teams, so it's just fun to watch and fun to play.
He wants to be able to go and challenge Gambit in that one, but you got to get there first, right? And there's been upsets galore for sure.
First things first, how weird is it that a Danish person, obviously he speaks English here, but he speaks fluent German. It's like a Hungarian person speaking Japanese, you know? It's like, makes no sense, right?
No, okay, I would say there is in some parts of Denmark, right, where they have German TV because they're so close to the border. Because I drove from Berlin to Odense.
You think he learned German because based on...
I'm not saying he learned it from TV. I'm just saying there's at least a closeness enough where they're obviously studying it and learning it in school to a point as a second language.
It came in good for him, right?
Definitely.
I mean, he was like falling off a little bit, and then Big took him. So
he got trapped on that horrible North roster that was going nowhere.
He knows one as well. It's like. Yeah, it's good to have him on here. I think one of the key things he pointed out in that interview was like they were preparing for that potential randomness from Isuba, right?
Yep.
And that's something which a very structured style like Big has. You know, that's one of their weaknesses, I guess, where some like loose cannon play comes out from your opponent, and they have to be ready for that at Fiend as well. Because, for example, Ships at this tournament, you know, going for those entry frags every time, like he's responsible for like 37% of the opening kills on the Fiend side.
Okay.
And he's like a lurker, kind of aggressive type of lurker, right?
Yeah.
And he's very dangerous. He has a feeling for the game. Like he's not like mechanically, like he does not good with utility and stuff like that. But he feels the map, he feels the game. He doesn't get that kill. And not just him. You have Dreamer, right? You saw that 1v3 yesterday, right?
Yeah.
He was one of the most important rounds.
Clutch man.
The guy is like, he's really good. We talked about his game sense and map awareness and like all the others like kind of aspect of the game. And he's very dangerous individual for them. He doesn't have to be like a team environment, doesn't have to be like a teamwork, he just can do it by himself.
Now, when we look at one individual head-to-head here, right, it's the AWP battle between Han and Sirison. Now, Han right now is the 4th highest rated player in the whole tournament, doing damn good overall. Sirison, I'm still yet to see the Sirison we saw of online be able to play at LAN. And for me, if he can't do it in this tournament, then I'm going to have to start him some questions in here.
Yeah, Sirison, obviously there was this storyline about him, you know, compared to last year, about how he holds up. Last year, obviously, a very fantastic year for him.
Yeah.
Like top 10 in the HLTV, like players ranking, you know, that's something which almost like no German player has achieved, you know.
Scout
in CS:GO.
expert.
Yeah, exactly, and he's certainly one of those players who like has to perform for Big right now. Obviously, the firepower discussion was there, you know, how that matches up with the two different rosters. And yeah, certainly someone you need, especially against a team like Fiend, to like have the double up stop, right? That's one of the most powerful tools actually, Horn and Red Star.
He's gonna be matching against Khan, right? You said that he's the 4th highest rated player, but the thing is like what he delivered yesterday against Gambit was crazy. He got like 20 kills in the first half, but it's also like on the other side, the Gambit wasn't really reacting to him properly. Like he didn't flash him on the right spots, but he just used every opportunity that he had, right? He has some sort of like basic stuff that he needs to like improve on, but he's super dangerous, like most of those Bulgarian opers, right? Cirque, Poison, now him. This is the story about Khan is like I think I said it before. One of my friends Serbian coach him in Serbia, like I think his name is Solito, right? The team was Team Finest or something like that. He said he would be the next like Poison and Cirque, right? So, but he's delivering so far.
And also Han is the player to watch throughout this game as well, based on what you guys were saying, what he was able to do. In this tournament alone, he's been able to stack up the numbers for sure. But he is this kind of next generation young talent coming up.
He's done well against Shiro, so he's gonna face Searson now. Searson is very dangerous. You know, he's aggressive, he's
Different
good with
styles,
a scout,
right?
he's good with an op, obviously, and he's good with like rotations and going for that, you know, opening kills. He's not really, you know, defensive like Shiro, right?
Yeah.
I know, like Nico hates playing as Searson.
A lot of people do, yeah.
He has a very annoying style, right? And if he's in the zone, he can disrupt your strats, your defaults, and then you're forced to improvise. If you're not good in improvising, then you're in a big problem against World Cup.
Sirison legit has a move on Dust 2, for example, T-Sap, where he just like runs down mid. No flashes, no smokes. He pushes down mid, goes outdoors, and just peeks the player in CT. Like he's that confident.
Such an onliner, dude.
Can he do it though when it comes to this game? Can he do it on
yeah,
LAN,
definitely
right?
can. I think they have like these teams like kind of wanted to meet each other like in this winner match, right?
Yeah.
Everybody wanted to avoid Gambit. They're all going to be fired up. Nobody's going to be like, you know, this is the first game of the event. The setups are like they're warmed up on the setups, on the stage and everything. And I think both teams are going to want it to go straight to the semis, right? Because the loser going to the quarters, they're going straight to the semis, right? Nobody's going home today, but everybody will want to be the number one in the group so they can get the easier opponent in the semifinals.
Yeah, that's what it's about, going looking forward and seeing what they can grab there. I do want to ask on the Sirison side of things though, because obviously you being more involved with the big team, Jalon. For him, right, for a while he played just purely in his room, right, even when the rest of the team were on boot camp. Then you brought him into the boot camp side of things. Is it like trying to be in an adjustment period for him to get him used to it? Because he seems like quite a reserved person when we see him around, you know, not the most hype. Does he like it just his own bit of comfort?
Hard to say about like the personality side of things. You know, that's something that, you know, I'm not a very specialist in, I guess. But obviously for him, you know, just being at home maybe it does provide a sense of comfort, but he also like really actively, like always comes to the boot camps, so it's not like there's a huge difference between the two. I don't think that's like a difference maker for him, He played multiple tournaments from the big offices, from the house, so I don't think that's like as big a factor as they make it out to be.
Well, let's see what he's going to do in this game. Let's start to bring our teams onto the stage. And the first one is going to be Team Fiend, who are very used to this setup by now, so let's bring them on.
I don't wanna cry.
They're ready and waiting for their opponent, and it's an opponent that they know well. We already touched on the fact that they've got the head-to-head, whereas actually Fiend that took it 2-0, but now we're on LAN, and it's up for Big Clan to show their stuff and prove why they're one of the best teams in the world. So let's welcome them to the stage. Now, surprisingly, when it comes to B, Keto was the next highest rated player on this out of these two teams, right? He was in their 5th place with a 1.54 rating. He had a really solid game in that opening best of 1. Now it's the best of 3s. You said it, John, every now and again he can pop off for sure. But you know what we want to do? Let's take a look at these maps. Let's see how this Vita is going to go down. Let's see what's going to happen on that Dust 2 side of things. So, Vertigo Band, Inferno Band. Oh, we actually see Big pick the Dust 2. Okay, so they've got the confidence to go for it. They didn't want to float it, and we end up with an overpass decider. Cassad, what are we making of that?
See, the first map is Mirage picked by Fiend. That was something that I didn't expect. But you see that the Dust 2 has to be there, right? So it is by Big. They're confident. They don't care that obviously that Fiend beat Gambit.
Yep.
They obviously have a plan coming into it. So it's a good sign of confidence from them, right?
And the
An
fact
overpass
that for Dust 2, like they're coming in like a 6-map win streak already. So that's part of the confidence.
Yeah, just a confidence thing. And then overpass is a decider there. Something that I think Big has advantage on just because they're like full team on the event. You know, that's a very tactical map. That's a very structured map, taking a lot of space, flashing a lot of key points, and just coming back and making a mid-round calls, and just the spacing, padding, and all these timings coming into the execution of the finisher of the actual round. So I think Big has the advantage, a little bit advantage of the Vito. Fiend has to win that Mirage if they want to have a chance to actually win the whole game.
Now, I don't know if you guys saw it on HLTV, but there was the interview done with Bubble as well after he beat Gambit, and it was just the very standard, we were just a better team, When it comes to Fiend, when it comes to the Bulgarians in general, they have that air of confidence where they will just be like, we're playing it our way, we're doing it our style.
They did play well, and you see them smiling coming in. That's something that we haven't seen before. And everybody, they seem fresh, like they had a really good night of sleep. They just seem ready to play the game, and that's a really good to see.
To someone, right?
Well, I guess so. I don't know myself, but I guess so.
Ooh, okay, so everyone, I thought Dweg went for Fiend. He's changed.
No, he's learned.
Dweg,
He's learned his lesson.
you pay him off? You tried to pay off Walker and
Yeah, he
Dinko?
actually accepted the brag, unlike Dinko.
Wow,
There you go.
Okay. There you go. Wait, so why am I not getting paid for my predictions? How does that work? You pay just Dwayne and not me?
You got paid in something else.
All right, on that note, I don't think I really want to know what I'm getting paid for on that. There we go. Yeah, perfect. We're taking all the Bitcoin here. Let's keep things moving though. Let's get into our opening game. We're going to Mirage and we're back with Dwayne and Jeg. And Dwayne, why did you change your prediction, man? Tell the truth.
Mate, they've stitched me up there. I did pick Fiend, so I don't know what's going on there. Nah, definitely, I'm going Fiend on this one. Again, when I look at it from that perspective, though, they're not the favourites. It has to be an upset to come through from the Bulgarians if they do want to get a win against Big here again.
100%. I'm taking a look at that veto, though, and I have a bit more confidence now in the Fiend side, seeing that those top two maps in their pool in Mirage and Dust 2 will be played as the first two in this series. So if there's a chance for Fiend to win this, I feel like they're probably going to have to take it in 2-0. Overpass is where things get a little bit murky. I think Assad had a really great point on the desk of the fact that when we get to that map, Big probably the favourites because of their experience level. And in general, I sort of lean towards Big and their experience overall. But we did see those results there. That last best of 3 where Fiend absolutely blew them out of the water, that is cause for concern for the German camp.
Yeah, it is. And I actually have a look at it from a different perspective going into Overpass. Big have only played it 4 times in the last 3 months, whereas for Fiend, it's definitely not one of their best maps in the pool. They definitely don't pick it. They actually don't mind playing it fairly often, Jay, in the decider maps, in that 3-map affair. So I look at this one, and I doubt Fiend are going to be able to get a 2-0. There is that possibility, knowing that it is Mirage and Dust 2. Still, though, I think we're going to a 3rd map.
You're also going to consider the fact of the LAN environment. Obviously, that match that we saw between Big and Fiend was online, and
Yes.
I know that a lot of people take a look at results and think, oh, online and LAN is very different and such, and there's an argument to make in that particular perspective. So is there going to be anything major that Fiend are going to have to adjust against? Is mentality going to have to change? And also, how does the standing situation affect their standing against Big?
I don't think it's affecting them massively. I think it's actually improving as the event goes on. Bubble was saying that when the event started, they didn't have a single hour of practice with Chips. We've now gone day after day after day where they've been getting him from the practice, getting him with the scrims. I know that even he had to play Tai Lu last night in from Skade, so it's showing that even with these guys playing the events here at V4, they've still got other officials to play online, and it seems as if that could be the extra map sharpness coming into today.
It could well be a little bit extra to add to that sharpness is the lack of pressure. These two teams will not be up for elimination today, and they won't be up for elimination. Oh, I guess the losing team will be up for elimination tomorrow because it is to seed into the quarterfinals. Loser, of course, drops to the round of 6 stage, and then the winner of the groups themselves, which of course this match is a winner's match, will lead into the semi-final. So it gets a little series advantage for whoever takes this matchup overall. It's a very important series advantage, but it's still nothing earth-shatteringly elimination for either side. So it's one of those matches where it can be very hype. It might not have the most amount of importance, but it definitely will be very handy to take here as we get into our first best of 3 of the day between Big and Fiend. Big on the CT starts on Mirage, our first map of the game.
And this is where really Fiend have got to strike with confidence, and they've done that so far over the course of this event, grouping up with a lot of players out from the B side. Exy, but the bomb is in Palace.
Gade's just waiting for contact. If they hold face on this position, then this might be enough here. Smokes down to the initial execution. Han's going to check out the short control. Just bunny up his way out to the ladder room. That bomb is still held out towards Palace, and now we'll start the rotation as Han draws first blood against Abson. Almost gets caught off, but dives right out towards the mid control.
What's going on here?
What
This
is
can't be
going
live.
on? Yeah, okay. All right, fine. Something went wrong there. I guess we were all caught off guard on that one, but clearly that pistol round was not live. Someone has DC'd from the server over from the big camp. So we'll get that quickly restored. Yeah, that was very confusing at first. It did feel like such a really confident execution, though, from the Fiend side.
Yeah, and hey, if you look back at that last official, you mentioned the way that they played in the Eliza, they played in the quarterfinal stage that Big got invited to. Dreamer put up 58 kills and 42 deaths on an average of a 1.80 rating in that 2-mapper affair. Now, something that we've seen this event is actually not a lot of Dreamer when we normally do online. So I'm getting the feeling as we do get deeper into the event and into these BO3s, that's where we'll probably get a lot from him. On the T side, he loves doing his lurking in from Palace. On the CT side, a lot of anchor holds from him. So he's going to be a player to keep an eye out for. And of course, the double orbs. Han and Red Star put up nearly, I think it was 37 kills at the 15 rounds at the half against Gambit on Dust 2. Both of them were hitting absolutely everything with those double orbs.
Well, if Dreamer's not necessarily the man at the moment here for Fiend, who is?
It has to be Red Star and Han. These guys on Mirage, definitely, and Dust 2, it's AWP's paradise. And you'd have to imagine CT side, anytime there's money, we're going to see a lot of AWPing coming out from Fiend.
100%. Double AWP, high potential. When we see how these players like to swap the AWPs around each of the individuals on the roster, there's no definitive double AWP role. No warps, of course, for the pistol round. Standard, we're just getting that rerun so we can get to the match officially. Start things off on the correct foot rather than having shenanigans out towards mid with people throwing their pistols away. I wonder if Fiend are going to take that fast pace that we just saw in that last round and try and utilize that as a basis for Mirage.
You could never know. When it's a round like that, when it gets restored, it's difficult to get a gauge. One thing I will know is that Fiend don't back down from a fight. This is a team that even when they're up against the third best team in the world, a world beater of Gambit, they were pushing them. They were getting aggressive. They were taking all of the fights. And when you are a team that is definitely an underdog, and we know what the Bulgarian style is like, it's in your face, it's aggressive, it's high tempo, they've got to play with confidence in this game, and they have so far.
You want to talk about world-beating status. These two teams, in terms of their rankings, are like a couple spaces apart.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
It's not like there's a definitive favorite in this matchup. Like a lot of people on the basis of name value. I mean, on the basis of name value and experience, you have got guys like Big. But the fact that the matter is that the results online have not been all that amazing. Their run at the major was, I guess, lackluster to a certain extent. Yeah. They went out during the challenger stage, of course. So it's not like it's the most. It's not like Big have a definitive advantage per se. Like, yeah, there are favourites because of the history of the players and the fact that Fiend have not got that much LAN experience, but that pretty much is only it.
No, I still think they're a definitive favourite. They do have an advantage by far, knowing that Fiend don't have their full lineup, knowing that Big have played in a lot of LAN events, and knowing too that they actually were able to get to the major where Fiend couldn't even get out of the RMR. The one thing I will say from Big in the last 3 months is consistency. You have a look at their DreamHack Open November run. Yeah, okay, they got to the grand finals. Who did they beat? Gamer Legion, not really much there. Mad Lions, okay. One of the maps in that series was close. Forza, they've made recent roster changes and didn't get a map against Fnatic in the grand finals. You have a look at them in the major. They beat Entropic in a best of one. They beat Renegades in a best of one. They took one map off of Ents and Mouse, which was Dust 2, which is their best in the pool. They didn't get to the next stage there into the legend status. You have a look at the RMR. A lot of their results there, they were playing teams that had already sort of qualified for the event, so I don't know how much you can put into that in the best of 3 contexts. And online, Big constantly get upset by tier 2 teams. Again, different environment though, so I don't know how much sort of impact that's going to have in the game today.
I think that's the big question on everyone's mind is how much is the LAN environment going to impact their upsets and their results in the online era. I feel like Big are a LAN team to a certain extent. I feel like that had they gotten to the arena in the major, then maybe that might have been a bit more of a boost for them. I don't know if there would have been a chance if they got to the legend stage again. You mentioned how it's been a bit difficult when it comes to those best of 3 results during those Swiss systems. So it's one of those things where it was very difficult to weigh up because we've been online for such a long period of time. Fiend most certainly have stepped it up in the last handful of days. I was very disappointed about their first few matches in the tournament during the playing stage especially. But you're right, they've stepped things up. They've managed to improve as time has gone on. They're starting to gel a little bit here. And Ships, I mean, he hasn't necessarily been the star role per se, but I don't think he really needs to be.
No, I've been watching a few of the Ships' performances yesterday, just looking back at some of the demos that they played against Team Hungary and Vizsla, and it just feels as if he's just taking all of Victor's roles, just trying to fill into the gaps. We saw in Dust 2 there was a slight change up where Bubble normally plays B, except that time around when they played Dust 2 against Gambit, Ships was playing B. Other than that, Ships was doing a little bit of AWPing on that map. T-side, he's pretty much just taking all the entry roles. And he's a guy that could also help out with secondary calling. He's an in-game leader for his team of Skate, and I'm sure if he's got an idea, or he's certainly seeing something on the map that Bubble hasn't seen, he could definitely chip in.
I think if he was able to make a call, then that might be where they'd probably accept his opinion. I think that maybe having a secondary calling role for him as a stand-in might be rocking the boat a bit too much in terms of where Fiend could go. I realise that it is a bit more loose of a style by comparison to many of the structured teams, a la Big, for example. But I feel like that having like a second IGL or something like that might be a bit more of a detriment than a positive.
I think any help is good help, the way I look at it. And for Ships, he's a guy that they've played with in the past. He played on a few events, I think 3 or 4 events under that Mbap Peak tag before they went into Voivoda, before they went over to Fiend. So they know each other pretty well. Ships was able to play with some of these guys when he was on Windigo too. So just trying to see if he can help them out, put them in a good position. I think Bubble's expectations was to try and make top 3 at the event. I think that's going to be a little bit difficult considering we've got semi-finals, quarterfinals and grand finals. But this is definitely a team that could surprise a lot of people and go far.
Of course, top 3 in an event where you don't have a third place decide match. I think maybe top 4 is what he was trying to tell you there. I mean, never know. Maybe if he makes top 4, he's going to be disappointed and he wanted to go to the grand finals.
Maybe that's what he's trying to get to.
Maybe so. Well, we've talked to Fiend many times over the International Online Cup, and usually whenever we've talked to players like a Bubble, for example, they've been talking about how their next big goal is to crack into the top 20 or the top 15 and sort of stay there. Time can only tell whether that happens. A LAN win, or at least a LAN run for Fiend, might be a positive sign towards that goal.
Mate, they've just beaten Gambit yesterday. This is already the start
Best
of
of one, though.
No, you don't put that on a best of one. They played well. They came in. You have a look at Han and Red Star dropping 37 kills in one half against the third best team in the world, and the protocols that they were able to have, the way that they were able to move around the map. You can't just look at it and say, best of one doesn't matter, because you just can't have that expectation.
I'm not saying it doesn't matter. I'm just saying that had it been a best of 3, it would have been no arguments there from me. Fiend certainly having the early starts in the group stage and definitely have run their way forward into this matchup with a lot of momentum. Beating Gambit is not necessarily a short order regardless of the match type. Fiend will know about that. They're very calm in that matchup yesterday as well. I wonder if that calmness is going to continue as the time rolls on here. Of course, Mirage being their historical home turf. For those of you not familiar with Fiend, they dominated this map a handful of months ago.
So did Dust 2. That's another thing we've got to think about. Even in that second map of this best of 3 series, 19 maps played, 89% win rate in the last 3 months. That is very high. They do not lose Dust 2 very often. Mirage is still a very strong map, but really for Fiend, it's Dust 2, Mirage, or Inferno. It's one of those 3 that pretty much get played in every best of 3 context for them, and it's their best maps in the pool.
Yeah, that's why I'm concerned about the veto. I feel like Big need to go to map 3 if they want to hold the contest above Fiend. Like, it's going to be very, very tough in these first couple of maps. I feel like a 2-0 is possible for Fiend. I really do feel like it. Even on Dust 2, I think that they're going to give Big a bit of a run for their money. In terms of the history of the maps themselves being played out, they never had any results from them over on Mirage or Dust 2. It was Inferno and Nuke during that Elisa event. So it's kind of different in terms of the history itself. But on the basis of what we've seen from these teams in the past, I feel like Fiend are in prime position to take this upset.
Even thinking about someone like Tabson, he's a guy that typically in the last 3 months of Mirage puts up a 1.20 rating. Didn't get to see a massive amount from him up against the Subaru. It was actually Keto and Tizian. Keto putting up 24 frags, Tizian finding 22. Both those guys finding a lot of impact. And I just guess the stylistic Counter-Strike that they were playing, the way that they were out-reading, they had a lot of good defaults over on that T side. They got 11 rounds in the first half. Could be a big factor coming into today. And finally, into the pistol round, Fiend are going to have something slightly different, Jay. They're going to have 3 players with a bomb in underpass.
No apps pop, 3 players slow walking into the mid control, have 1 player up top mid, and the jump phase from Tabson will give info away to the T side, and Spot nothing back. He's forced to back away.
It all just comes down now to the timing. When that first contact comes out, they've seen Tizian.
Taps up, no damage being done. Headshots not connecting either. Finally, he catches Han. 5-on-4 being gained. Keto right behind him. And Searton out of Firebox will be the linchpin player. Keto domes Dreamer. And Gade's going to cut off rotations as soon as a player makes way through the murder hole. Ships could be a goner. Bubbles right behind him with the bomb and everything. Taps up. Perfect kill. Perfect second. Red Star in a 1 versus 5. Gade will engage. Can't quite make it a triple. But at this stage, they have all the cards in their favor.
That was really well played from Big. They were having a really good expectation of what was going on there with that A split. Everyone positioned perfectly, and Red Star 1v4 position, just hoping to try and do some further damage. Now, something that we know a lot of times when watching Fiend's Mirage is just how deadly Dreamer can be with those late lurks out from Palace. Keto was watching that the entire round from the back of Ticket, and even Tizian that's just playing Treble was just playing time. The play out for Murder Hole was everything in the rounds.
Absolutely. They tried to sneak their way back from Market to the B site, and it didn't quite work out that way. Nice double in. And a pistol round to be gained for Big. No bomb plant for Fiend means no buy for round 2.
Yeah, this makes sense. Not a lot of damage came in, so just get a P250 out for Han, a Deagle in for Red Star. Pretty much just a throwaway round, and this is a good chance for at least Gade to see if he can farm up some money with that SMG.
Red Star might challenge him directly in the apartments. Jump face from the man. Not going to take directive contact and directive defensive in apartments. Just look for the info and hopefully put the smoke up as soon as he sees them. It's passive from Fiend, though. Slow T default.
Now, I wonder, from Fiend, are they going to get stronger knowing that they're going to start playing better teams, Jay? Because when you have a look at their run so far, they played Team Hungary twice, which is pretty much a mixed team, and Vizsla. That's only 1 out of the 4 games they've played so far.
They've been able to dispatch those 2 teams particularly well. and see whether it continues in against the likes of Big for the time being. Smokes at the ready for Keto. He's going to put that towards mid, or at least thinking about it. Face forward from Tabson instead. Dry peeking against Bubble. Scout shot for Searson. Does miss out on the player towards top. Midships will back out of there. Bombs in the apartment. Should commit towards the B side. It's just further challenges coming in from the T's across the rest of the line. Nothing else finding here for CTs.
They're just hoping for an individual pick. They're hoping that one of these pistols is going to be able to get a double goosh down, try and see if they can get some dinks off, drop a player if possible. And there we go. That's Keto dropping on shore.
Dreamer falling very quickly back at ramp, so it doesn't last long, that man advantage. The bomb will creep its way out to the apartment's entrance. Ships is watching. Looking onto the mid position. Scout still missing out his shots. They get a dink off as a result of that. The bomb can cross and possibly get planted here. They actually managed to find Gate in the corner. So 3v3. That's money being gained. And Red Star has found Tabson.
Oh my goodness, this is so winnable, Jay. Bomb plant coming through. Look at the rifles they can pick up. Red Star's been able to get an M4A1S. And look at Chips' position.
Look at Searson's position.
Saving.
He's back on the A side. They're saving. What the hell? Okay, that's fine. Sure. Whatever. Fiend with their first report.
And a Deagle. No util, no armor. Oh my goodness.
I think the tone has effectively been set here, Doig.
What is that? Honestly. With a round like that, 1 or 2 picks at absolute maximum. I cannot believe Fiend have won that. That is so mad.
Just characteristic at this stage, isn't it? It's Mirage, it's their home turf. At least one exit does come in for the Scout at the end of it. Missed shots from him, though. Imagine the chances that he had to at least turn an HP advantage to the favour of Big and how that possibly could have affected things. But here we are. Eco win, 1-all to the board. They hold on to those weapons at least for Big. They probably force around a double eco, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. There's no way Big are going to save here. And it just comes down to some of the individuals really hitting their shots. Red Star up from top mid, dealing with Keto, and then getting close into Connector and picking up that M4A1S. And Big with that buyback. Tizian going quite aggressive.
Flashes over as Han leans up and out into the A sites. Red Star with the opening kill. Tizian caught off by Bubble next. And that's a 5 versus 3 with no further automatics available for the CT side. Scout, at least in for Gade. Tabson with his Deagle does get caught by Ships as he sneaks around that smoke and finds the gap as he escapes towards Connector. There'll be no eco steals for Big this time. As soon as I say that, Keto does take down Ships and Dreamer. Got a tag off for Bubble as well. The flick's not quite as effective on the outside face, but still a 3v2 for Fiend.
They gave a lot of 1v1 duels up to that individual down there of Keto in that default position. This is still manageable in the CT side, knowing now that Keto has dealt with Bubble.
Okay, tone definitely set. Keto's found 3. Looking into Connector, not aware of the ramp face coming in from the T's. He's got his back turned away from them as well. We'll back off towards CT, spot out another, take 2 quick pop shots, get nothing out of it. The Scout holding a crack angle, hoping they overextend towards jungle. That Molotov indicates they're just going to go to the side though.
And need to get some of this util down, make it easier for themselves, try and get the bomb plan in and even scale. Oh, look at the position there.
And look at the damage the Gate took to try to get that position out. Red Star punched him for it. It's all Keto to get the ace now. Looks up, sees one, tap does not connect it. Second one doesn't either. And the nade to him should finish off the job for Red Star. 2-1 to the board. Impressive for Keto, though, and he's found some clutch moments over the course of Mirage. We saw him take an ace on 1 HP in the earlier best of ones yesterday. So seeing that come out for him on the Deagle as well indicates there might be more to him during today.
I don't think we can be too critical with Fiend in that round, only because they won. If they lost it, we definitely could be. Yeah, they did give up a lot of individual duels. They could have slowed it down. There really wasn't a reason why Dreamer needed to swing out that wide, wait for the comm players to come through. A lack of util. Red Star, another great round from him.
Eco set in now for the Big side as they lose their eco. Can't quite get the Deagles back out in the force bite. Now leads to a full save. A couple of hand cannons at least. Upgrade pistols in the PT50s. Fiend were able to win with this buy, so there's no reason why Big shouldn't, in theory at least. Tizian caught first, does his damage. Han struggles. Bubble, however, finds Tabson. Dreamer drops in and Bubble gets that second kill anyway. So 5 versus 3 and the A site's dead.
Just try and see if they can get Bubble in for a couple more kills, farm up that SMG. That Mac 10 doing a lot of damage.
Searson alone. Home with the pistols, they pass those weapons back and forth. Red Star does get caught, that's 1 frag, no more than that. Bubble with the trade. And 3 to the board of Fiend. Big now with the buy, the first true gun round coming in for this map up. We'll see the M4s cross the board. Searson buys down the AWP.
Now, remember back to that game against Team Hungary in that opening best of one that Fiend played. They had a fantastic CT side of 11 rounds played. They had 11-4 half, and then the T side just crumbled. We really didn't see a lot of success coming through. They only got a couple of rounds. It does feel as if when we compare that from then to now, they've definitely stepped up their mirage.
M4 of Keto trying to find that crack angle to the edge of the smoke on short. Flashes over, run boost for Ship should evade that player for the most part. The AWP might get called the information. They might have the knowledge of their positions. Put some counter nades onto the angles. Behind the stack, Ships was tagged to 93. Not a massive amount considering how close that nade could have been.
As Fiend just spreading out their default, getting Ships into a top mid position. Further HG's going to continue doing damage, down to 53 now. Big, even having Gage just jump spotting out to the apartments, just trying to see if he can make an info play. For the moment, this AWP of Syrison is very passive on A.
Looking out, hoping for the best. Bubble leans up with the MAC-10. Flashes on. Further smokes into the angle. Tabson leans forward with the M4 at Sniper's Nest, hoping that someone takes a contact peek against him or gets overly aggressive ahead of that smoke. No one does, though. Just stacked in towards middle. They're trying to lean into the A site.
Now, Fiend might not recognize just how much ramp control has been taken by the CTs. Tabson expecting a wraparound play to come in from window. The split on A is coming in.
Well, Ships has got to account for this. I don't think he spotted Searson. AWP now turning into the site. The CT player gets engaged and Ships marries him off out of the round. 5 versus 4. Bomb plant should be secured. Really opened up towards the CT spawn itself, and the retake from 2 sides of the site actually gets called off here. Big don't want to do this. The economy's not great. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, there was definitely Syrison seen in ramp. Maybe not the second player, but definitely the AWPer. And you can see the protocol because of that. They're able to get Ships aggressive out to that CT spawn area. They put a re-smoke down to ramp. There's no way a T-side does that without gathering that information. Really nice A-side take coming through from Fiend, and Big just back off. At least they've got a lot of weaponry they can save through, so they'll be able to pass a weapon over to Tabson in the next. Fiend up to 4.
3 rounds in the lead here off the back of the pistol win for Big. That's been it so far for the German court. Searson hoping for exits out of ramp. No one's going to give him the face, though. Bubble, the closest player to the site, also stays alive, so all 5 alive for the T side. Plenty of cash as well for Fiend. The money is going to ramp up from here.
Yeah, lack of deaths for a lot of these players in these last couple of rounds, so it's making that money really look sour. You've got to imagine as well for Big what they're going to be able to do with the counteraction. Are we going to see some more mid-aggression? Are we going to see some more passive AWPing out from Syrison or something super aggro? Look for an opening man advantage, because that would definitely help them here.
Smokes on towards short. Red Star and Dreamer. That mid-control passive angles. Smoke's being set out towards the A site. Going to try and indicate a set piece. M4 looking down a ramp. And aggression comes in towards Palace instead for Tizian.
Now, one of the first rounds that Dreamer's actually not lurking in Palace is the one round that there's some over-aggression out from the City side. This could be quite a sweet info play if the continuation comes through from Tizian.
The flashes do go over, trying to indicate a hit. The smoke's down to connect the jungle and CT. Eventually the stairs smoke also gets set up. And it's actually going to be the split in with the execution here. Kito's going to back off thinking that they might just be in the set piece scenario. That's been perfect to telegraph a complete giveaway of the mid-control. Can walk in from here, 60 seconds, and finally Tabson will catch Red Star, get that opening frag for Big instead. Kito follows suit on Dreamer, removes that con presence. It's all down to the ramp players, one of which is coming out now, one of which is already in sandwich, a third player on his way in. That's Han with the AWP, and Palace is still being contested by Tizian. Han has no idea towards this. Gotta just check his angles at the right moments. Tizian looks away, though. Here's those footsteps. Here's the scope knife being pulled out, and he's dead. Bomb will get planted, but 5v2 for the retake.
A difficult post-plant for Fiend. Really just need some of these individual to fire up, and for Big, they've even got a couple of smokes to work with on this retake. Fiend might just be saving. Just hold on to the weapons here.
And Ships is rotating out towards Spawn. Bubble's not too far behind him. Get out towards Palace. Molotov away from that position onto the firebox. I mean, they might still be there on the site. Ships is leaning in. No one's at ramp, though. No one can deny this diffuser. They get on it right now. And they're going to do just that. Gade in with the defuse. Sticking it. Spray through Tizian. Catches Ships. Knife pulled out. Might lose his life towards Bubble. He can recover that AK, at least, or the AWP, in fact. But it will be around for Big.
That was actually a pretty nice play. So they know that Harm was the one rotating in from Palace, and he dropped the AWP when that duel came through from Tizian. So, okay, we're not going to really defend the bomb because 2v5 is not going to work. Let's at least look for some exit kills, try and see if we can deal with Tizian. If we can, we'll be able to recover that AWP. Big, though, what a start it was with some of these opening man advantages before the bomb even got close to the bomb site.
Well done there from the CTs. Fiend just going to have to take that one on the chin. They have got the buyback, of course. Again, the money is still fantastic for them. And Ships' duels are fantastic the same. Keto to drop, but Tabson behind the smoke will find a response. So it will be a 4 versus 4 for his trouble. Smokes up to suppress the palace entrance. Nobody's out there for the T side.
This is a great recovery coming through from Big. An over-aggressive mid-duel out from Keto doesn't go his way, but the return frags are fantastic. Red Star's just hoping to catch a lurk out on B.
Okay, Smoke up to suppress Red Star, falling away with the AK. And Tabson back towards Market to try and join his teammate. The 2-2 split in from the remaining CT forces. Still at the man advantage here. That bomb's in apps as well, so B seems to be the likely commit.
Yeah, Red Star's just hoping that Gade overextends, goes for an info play, starts pushing forward out from the apartment's position, but really, Big could just slow it down, play the numbers game, and for Fiend, just waiting for some sort of mistake to bring it back into a 3v3.
Han now has the bomb on his back. Dream up. Go ahead and join in. They've already got Red Star set. And speaking of sets, they've got 4 flashes, 2 smokes, and 2 mollies to go into the set piece on the B site, or just the execution in general. 30 seconds. In a roll. Red Star still trying to find anything he can here. It's quiet until the hit. Molotov set in. Checking out the van position. Red Star's made noise. Caught a headshot. Caught that second player on the jump phase. Can't isolate the kill. Tabson gets a trade as a result of that. Stalling for time to get Searson back in the site. The bomb gets planted, but Tabson gets his second kill. Looking for the triple Han. Finally overwhelms. But it's him v2 now. AWP in hand. Flash looks out of Market. Gets caught towards window.
Knows where the AWP is. Knows where the other player is. He knows exactly where the CTs are.
Blind fire. Flash over. He's seen one. Oh, but he tags the truck, not the man. And it will be a retake successful for Big.
Fiends were just hoping that something was going to get created there. The problem they find is dealing with Tabson out for the bench angle. Even though Red Star is able to find that entry onto Gade and knows exactly where Tabson is, because he's able to stay alive for just so long, it buys that rotation in from the market position. Han realizes where that AWP is and that M4A1S. Unfortunately, not hitting that shot straight away. Big finding their 3rd round.
Funny to see how slow it was there from Fiend, how little info they gave up, and still Big were able to account for it. Yeah, missed shots were a factor, especially for Han at the end of it. And Fiend will still hold the lead, but Big in prime position to catch up to them with this next gun round. The double AWPs in play. A tactical pause was just taken. I believe it was by Fiend. We'll find out in a moment's time. It would make a lot of sense given the fact that they've just almost been equalized.
We've seen a lack of deep mid presence in from Fiend on these defaults. Haven't seen a lot of plays into ladder and into window. Try to see if they can get some jungle and top com positions. So that's probably something they're going to be thinking about. Haven't seen a set piece on A for a while either.
I mean, a strategy to fall back on. As soon as you say you haven't seen a set piece on A for a while, here comes Fiend with 4 players set with smokes. 1 player lurking out towards the mid control to try to draw out the defaults. The nades are in. Tizian is leaning forward with the M4. He might be in an angle to deny everything for them. Flash ahead. Ships is dead.
That doesn't completely clear the angle. Hoping for a trade back. Tizzy might even drop the AWP. Good shot from Han.
What a recovery as well after he missed that kill shot in the previous round. Bring it into a 4 versus 4 in this one. Smokes down. T-side players going to make their way into the A site in this round. At least is what it looks like. They back off immediately, receiving more counter util from Big.
I could put it down as a double pump, and now look at what Searson's doing on the city side. He's aggressing, he's probing up to this top mid position. So much map control gained, and he could just sit here and wait for that rotation out of T-spawn into the apartments.
You've got Red Star looking on the exact same position as the AWP player as well. Searson's going to continue extending and all, so he might just sandwich them in. If he gets the pick back onto Bubble, that might just be enough for them. He's going to continue extending as they start walking to Palace.
And some of this util up on the A site is slightly limited. Tabson's got nothing, Keto's got nothing as well. It's Searson that's pushed up on mid, and Gade, the B player, that's got the util. At least they're rotating him over, and Searson's been able to catch Bubble.
And he doesn't even continue the extension. Just get that shot, back off immediately, rejoin your teammates who have the site on lock. This is what you think. Keto with the second shot does not connect the first one. Tabson finds Red Star with his back turn, and Han's on 3 points of HP. Out of this round, it's 4 to the board.
And that was well timed with that mid push. It looked as if Searson just had an opportunity of staying posted, hold that angle, and he just pushes pushes forward as soon as he catches that kill onto Bubble. Even before that happened, as he's moving forward, you could see Gade rotating over, and they're trying to put pressure onto Han. They're going to kill him, not before the time expires, but it's still a pick coming through. Dreamer 0-0-6, someone that we praise quite heavily on T-side of Mirage. He's yet to get started, and for Big, they're now starting to find some momentum. 3 rounds in a row for him.
It's not the kind of match which you want to lose Dreamer on as well. We gave him so much praise coming into this event about how well he was doing online, how he was the guy essentially for the last 2 to 2.5 months for Fiend, how he was always putting up MVP performances for Fiend. Now not getting a kill, not getting an assist, 1 round away from James Bond. Don't like how that one's going to go down for him. Great recovery plays again from Han and co, but it was Searson's backstab that made all the difference here for the CT forces. Now he's set with that AWP into the mid control, trying to challenge Han indirectly. Smokes are suppressing both sides. No further contact outside of that sniper's nest shot.
Yeah, Red Star trying to put some pace and some pressure down on that B anchor of Gade. Try and get a little bit quicker up to that apartment's position. Hope to see if he can catch him on a jump face.
Gade continues to hold his aggression. Flashbang. Turned away from by Red Star. I think he spotted his head. Oh, Gade. Playing with his food, playing with our emotions, but does force Red Star off angle thanks to that noise being made. But doesn't give up his life and actually forces Fiend to concede map control indirectly.
I was slightly surprised that Red Star with those sound cues didn't actually look for the fight. I guess he knows that the bomb's not far from him, that if he falls, someone else from one of the mid players is going to have to go and pick that up. Fiend now trying to get some top con position.
Missed window smoke there. Second one had to get put in, or a Molotov to go down there or something. Bubble. Happen to smoke to look towards jungle. Nobody's there. It's all on the site itself. Player out of danger. Caught off. Headshot found. Now got to check Dark, where Tizian's holding from. AK versus several of them. Bubble checks the angle. Tizian still wins that fight. Moves back in the jungle and actually drops the bomb in sandwich. Now that's an advantage. And the bomb position being seen. Dreamer looks up, gets that trade alongside Gade falling. Han chimes in on Keto, but Tabs is still at CT. Spotted all the same. Bomb yet to get picked up, yet to get planted, but Tabs is going to overextend anyway and give up the round via kill to Fiend.
And that's probably some of the strengths that Fiend have, is that they're just everywhere. They're taking fights all across the map. That one right there, look at the gap that Bubble is able to find. He walks through that top con smoke, even peeks into the angle towards that right-hand side of Triple. That's probably watching a couple of the big demos, getting some tendencies of where the AWP is playing from. And then you get Ships getting into jungle. You've got the way that Han's still playing the AWP in from mid. Yeah, they do struggle getting Keto to drop from that underbalk position. Dream is able to strike, then Ships is able to find a pick, and Big, they take a tactical because of it.
You know, 1 tactical per team used thus far. And Big were right on the precipice of taking the lead as well. It was a bit of a blunder in that last round. Money is a little bit lopsided as well. I think they probably drop weapons on Tabson and get the buy back together regardless. They have enough spread across them. Watch a bit more of how that round fell apart. Bubble's entries that really started things off, and you would have thought that Tizian's trades should have been able to get the round together for Big, but the trades elsewhere on the map were really what came together for them. This shot for Han. Dreamer found Tizian elsewhere. Wonderful stuff again from the T trading. And the double orbs come right back in play for Big.
Yeah, we didn't see a lot of double AWPing from them against Asuba. We're definitely seeing it up against here against the Fiend side, and maybe this is knowing the opponent they've got and how they want to try and change up their game plan.
Shot connects to the leg. Tabson can finish off the kill on Ships. Nice combo start. Left, right, good night. Man down instantly. Red Star hoping to tap up Gade. Again with that jump face, again hunting for it, but Apps, if he conceded off the back of the information given away to the CT forces, they rotate back towards mid in the Nat Palace.
Yeah, Big are doing a pretty decent job with some of these opening kills, these opening advantages that they're searching for. In from mid, they just take it passive. They're playing 3 on B this round. And they're even thinking about making an info play, aggressing up from the short side, get a boost up going.
Tabson looks on to the mid control. Red Star not even going to take first contact. It's Searson leaning out a connector, catches Han. Completely dry face into the composition. 2-man advantage for Big. Fiend again content to slow things down. Red Star keeping his head tucked away. And the bomb will walk up towards short. Tabson's in prime position. He's seen that, I think, pistol thrown over there. Something was thrown over there. It was information given up to the CT side.
Now, Big are in a position again where they can just hold their bomb sites. The time is so low. This might just be a save coming through from Fiend. They don't have a lot of map control. They're not grouped together. The bomb is just kind of near T spawn. So just hold on to weapons, bring it into the next round. The Germans being able to type the scoreline.
Yeah, you're right on that one. Economy's in a bit of a weird state as well for the T's. So just keep that loss bonus flowing in. Still got players like Dreamer on high roller money. Obviously, he won't be able to expand that in round 11. But I think the AWP, the AKs are a bit more valuable to them than the loss bonus here. So he will go 5-all, and Ships and Han should be back in for the buy. There might be a drop weapon, indeed there is. Tactical pause, I believe, was also taken there. And I believe it must have been by Fiend.
Slightly disappointing from Fiend that they haven't been able to kind of strike back. You think to yourself that second round where they won an eco and then were able to turn it into 4 on the trot. Since then, they haven't really been able to find a lot of success. It feels as if Big are starting to get some deep control over in this game. Seeing how the Bulgarians can bounce back. You have to imagine, too, for Fiend, just putting themselves in a position of keeping it close and competitive in this first half is going to give them that extra distance once they go into the CT side of really putting the numbers on the board.
Double AWP staying for Searson and Keto as well. How effective have those been so far?
Pretty much towards a high level. Searson's been playing over towards the A side. Keto's been playing short side. Both of them have been able to find a lot of opening man advantages. And they're not getting dropped a massive amount too, which is obviously helping out. And I guess knowing that the double AWPs are getting saved in, there's no point dropping them. If you've got something in mind and what you want to change, then maybe there's something that can happen in the next round or so, but keep it up while you've got it.
Molotov set in Keto. With the AWP out towards the apartments, Tabson with his AK to engage in mid-control. Curious little choice of weapons to put there, but it might still work out. His passive positions, going to try bait them into the Sniper's Nest face. Have that mid-control for now here for Fiend. Continue play out the defaults. They have opted for the slow style so far.
Oh, I like this. This is something we haven't seen a lot from Fiend. He's trying to get into window, and Ships just go straight up through that bottom con smoke. Great opener.
Tabson trying to boost up the catch the tray, but he hasn't spotted the man. Red Star could cut off rotations in this position. Next player up to AWP of Han, who detects that boost, removes Tabson. Tizian drops the Dreamer, and Fiend are right back into the thick of it. A 5v2. A site's open. It's a safe call now for Gade and Keto.
They hit hard, Fiend, and that round right there just speaks volumes. What an opening kill. That was some Ships. Just the confidence to push into connector like that, even with it being smoked off. And then when you look at Han coming into short, you go, nah, he's not going to get that flick. Okay, maybe if he was down on the ground, there's a shot that comes in. He's able to get that flick up, and then even Dreamer gets the player that aggresses through from Tizian at ramp.
And Fiend continue to fend off Big and stop them from getting into the lead themselves. Such confidence as well. It feels like when their backs are against the wall is when Fiend tend to play their best. The rounds being built up for Big still put them within touching distance of Fiend. The concern for me is the economy state. Let's see how this loss bonus leaves us. Do we force here? I mean, it does make sense for guys like Searson. You've got problems with Tizian and Tabson, though. Do they rock SMGs for util?
Oh, they buy it down. Keto can drop a weapon. Gade can drop a weapon. One will buy themselves. They're not going to have any weakness with this buy at all. Get the rifles out for everyone. There's full util, so no problem here with the economy state from Big. Could definitely be if they lose this round and get reset going into round 13 for sure. Fiends, though, keeping pressure on. And we've been going back and forth individual rounds for the last 4 in a row.
Shots out for the AWPs. The standard and the defaults for Han. Searson leaning in, going to try and check out the stack position. Ship spotted and sprayed, and indeed he does engage. Find that first frag, almost that second bubble there with the trade back as they get a little bit too aggressive there for the CT forces. Searson's still going to chase it down though, try to fight Han. Oh, turning away with the flashbang. Searson won't get blinded either, but they won't reface him.
Oh, I'm with you there, Jay. That was not necessary at all. Get the first pick, fall back, play the numbers, and instead they probably get too hungry in that sort of situation. At least they leave Searson in top mid to start looking for an info play. Might even be able to catch off Red Star.
Oh,
yeah, good shot.
Most perfect timing in the world with his face. Shut down, 4-on-3 advantage for Big A site. Little bit light on the defensive. They have got Tizian in position. Searson rotates back towards connector as well. Provides his second pick. Looking for that third as well. Nays the firebox. Should damage up Bubble. Actually take him down entirely. Dreamer left alone to get picked up by Gade. The wallbang sprays straight to the head. 6-all. Big making this competitive on map 1.
Gade just finding that lineup for the Palace re-smoke down there into the city spawn. I'm very impressed by Searson. He is, like Drellin said, a very annoying player to play against. He's got one of those styles where you've got to be on your toes when you're facing off against him. And you could just see there, even though that slight over-aggression mistake comes through from the trade back from Tabson, he stays around, he catches off Red Star, and then even when he moves back into connector and puts pressure on A, he's able to find even more picks.
Fires back in, the standard nades up, doing damage early again towards that mid-control. Bubble forced to hold back behind the smoke, so the flashbangs come in. He's trying to face against Xia soon. The AWP gets overly aggressive, and once again, Bubble can punish it. Tabs are caught down and Con completely blinded up, and Bubble makes it a triple. Smoke on, a short flashbang over as well. A 5-on-2 been gained. Finally, Keto with one trade and the second, looking for number 3 and 4. Han with the orb finally trades him, and it's Gade standing alone.
What is going on? This is just madness out for the T side. So many fast picks coming through, and now for Gade, he's got to try and clutch.
Flashbang to his position, not detected. The fight still finds damage on to Bubble. Dreamer at 100, Han on 29. But Gade wants nothing to do with this retake anymore. He's backing off to market, AK in hand. Staying into the next round, and once again, Big just can't seem to take a lead above Fiend. They do so well in confident rounds to equalize against this Bulgarian side. But when it comes to taking the leads themselves, like, they just struggle every single time.
And forget the defaults, forget the set pieces, the lurk attempts, whatever it may be. What is finding the most success from Fiend is the pace. Look at that round, how fast it is, how much pressure they put on. And as soon as that AWP unscopes and moves forward, Bubble just strikes with the first, ends up with a triple. They're all sort of in and around that triple area connector. All 3 kills being found really like a breeze. And Fiend, when they have the quicker stuff, they find more success on T-side for sure.
Lead, defended, maintained, whatever you want to call it. Bubble just sequence towards the mid control, and you halfway would have thought that would have been enough, but Keto sequence himself like really brought that round back into contention for Big. If he got that third frag, that probably would have been enough. The Eagles now out, Gabe with the hero AK. Now the economy is broken for Big.
And we always say, anytime there's a back and forth affair, individuals rounds being won, it's typically the City side that gets hit the hardest. And now we're noticing going into round 14 just what the difference can make. This should realistically be quite an easy 8th for Fiend. Big don't have a lot behind them. This one weapon from Gade could be on for some damage, even stacking up the A side quite heavily. They're playing 1 on B.
Leans out from the CT side. You've got Gade pushing into connector, hoping to catch someone in the Palace, but it's so slow again from Fiend. You mentioned how the quick stuff is what's working out for them. This slow style of game is unnerving for Big. They don't know what's going to hit them.
Now, lack of information, very silent in here for the T-side. Fiend haven't been able to give much away, and even from the mid play, there's not much at all. Bubble out from underpass is finally starting to clear it with some of those top mid players, and Gator's at least got a rifle in a decent position.
Works on top corner. I think there's a gap in it. It's a bit too far off to the right-hand side. They're not even going to face it anyway. Keto, headshot. Makes the shot towards the short position. Almost gets another kill. Taps it with 2 PG-50 frags on the flank now. Something's falling apart of the T-side again. Searson chimes in. Dreamer's down. Red Star with 1 trade. But he's got 3 more to find. Orp and AK now picked up for the CTs, and Gade shuts it down. What happened there?
Revenge? Maybe?
Yeah.
Fiend won an eco off a P250 and a Deagle in the second round. Big. They had more there. It's still an eco. That was very limited with the investment they had.
It's funny how you said Fiend do better on their fast rounds compared to their slow rounds, and that's a perfect example of that right there. Slow it down, slow set piece in, allow the CTs to insert themselves into flank positions, get the Deagles, the P250s to converge in on that short control, and then everything goes to hell from there. Fiend at least have a buy of sorts into round 15. 2 more Deagles out for them, 2 AKs at the very least. The fast plays into the apartments. Red Star gonna catch Gade off guard. 2 players leading in the backstab. Keto's there with the AWP. Pick found 1 player out in the open tabs and gets that pick. Keto flicks back for the double, and Ships and Han in the 2v4. We have got Han out towards mid on the counter flank, but the bomb being dropped on the B site means that the CTs have all bases covered.
Yeah, Han could try a wraparound play, get into connector, get all the way to CT spawn, see if he can get in through the back lines. The problem is there's only 2 players. They've got no util, and Ships has got to try and find some damage.
The concern here is if Searson pushes forward, then he's going to catch that player in the back, and regardless, Tizian's on his own counter backstab. Finds time with a tap to the head. Ships forces his way out, taking damage, 32 HP. Searson finally closes in the pincers and deals with the final man of the T side. Finally gaining a lead as well for Big. For the first time since the pistol, it's 8-7 at the turn of the half.
Hey, Keto putting on another good performance. His Deagle, without a doubt, has been fantastic in the best of one we saw against Asuba, and right here up against the Fiend boys. Tabson's with that P250, couple of kills in from Connector, just set that whole follow-up round in from round 14 to 15. Fiend. Yeah, they probably would have felt as if they deserved more there. They had 4-1 scoreline at one point, only getting 7 rounds. Not fantastic. And for Big, put themselves in a decent position here, Jay. And I guess this is how we expected this series to go. The scrappiness, the back and forth, the competitive affair.
Yeah, I mean, we hoped it would be a banger. We were on social media saying this one has the potential to deliver.
Definitely.
And it's not like the Sinners matchup where they didn't deliver. This one is going as far down on the wire as it can possibly go. Big now transition to the T side with 2 sets of util on Tabson and Tizzy in here. Smokes get set out towards the A site, connect to jungle and stairs. Cross bubble open at CT. Might get flashed down. Indeed, he will. He does see that util coming back in. Will lean back towards the ramp position. Jump face will see 2 individuals. His teammates coming in from Connector and from CT will try bolster the defensive. Still got 2 back on B in case this is a fake, but that is not to be the case. They rush him down. They force bubble out of the dodge. Flashbang catches him blind. They just extend all the way out towards stairs. Should get the bomb plant.
No, they don't completely overextend it. Allows ships to get into an aggressive position from that stairs angle. Flash over the top does not work out.
Tabson can draw first blood. Keto with a second. Tabson doubles up himself. Continues extending alongside Gate here. Red Star and Dreamer get those trades, but Searson with a responsive, leaving Red Star on less than 30 HP to clutch a 1 versus 3. Looks on the ramp, knows that Searson is somewhere close. USP, elevated angle, and Searson capitalizes on that. Couldn't get the headshot for Red Star, and Big take the pistol with a fantastic start on their T side.
Yeah, there was some slight hesitation there from Big in the map control they wanted to do with the protocol, but it actually worked out okay. They don't quite completely overextend to CT. They put some util down, they try and make it uncomfortable for Bubble, and then it allows Fiend to sort of retake that area of the map, and Big are there in numbers. They're waiting for that push forward and that retake to come in. 9 on the board, Fiend with the buyback, starting to run out of rounds because this lead, it could start building into quite a margin.
Oh, perfect shot for Han, though. Responds once again. It's very similar to the way things have worked out, of course, in the first half. Big won the pistol, then Fiend forced it back. Of course, this one a much more definitive force buy. They only went for like a bit of an eco, I guess you could say, from that second round. They found that first pick in regardless.
And now it's about converging the advantage, seeing if they can get some more out of it. Still a lot of presence in from mid, and this could make it difficult for the T's to try and get this top composition, especially if Dreamer peeks forward.
Ships holding in a jungle. Flash forward AK. Spammer. So much damage being done. He even tags Keto in the back. Tabson turns around to deal with Red Star on short ships with 1 responsive. In the AK of Tabson can't afford to go through Sniper's Nest. He's going to have his back turned towards at least 1 CT. Gets Ship Streamer. Gets him back. 3 on 2. Bomb should get planted, but now backstabs even in the scout. Gets another frag. Keto to drop. And Tizzy and Galil in hand in the 1 versus 3. 45 seconds. Bomb can get picked up. Could get planted. Not without his difficulties, though. Finds Han, sees him. Info game for the CT side. Spray through. Desperate, but no. Han with a triple. Headshot landed aplenty. And Fiend steal the second of the half.
Alrighty, that's finally some goods coming out from Han. And one of the first rounds we've really seen his capability. A triple coming through with that scout. And that whole round came through with a lot of distractions, a lot of baits. You could see the way that Tabson's trying to get into window to try and deal with chips, and then they don't know about Dreamer that's playing up into ladder. But really, Han with this scout was able to do a massive amount, deny that bomb for going down, makes it really difficult for that bomb plant to even get attempted. A good force buy back from Fiend.
All good force buy back from Big. No bomb plant bonus, no second stage loss bonus. The Eagles on 3, Tech 9 and Scouts. And of course the AKs saved in from the CT side means plenty of firepower for the Fiend camp. See where Big want to go with this. Not a lot of util to go for the execution basis. A flashbang out to get them ahead of ramp. Gade's going to get caught off by ships. Bubble finds the first kill on Searson. Now looks in for a little bit more against them. The Molotov to throw them off. Rag rotations inbound for the rest of the CT forces. Backup has arrived. But Big have not.
Almost just want to see Keto's Deagle in his hand every round, Jay. I'm loving it.
He's found at least a pick.
Yeah. Probably doesn't help on a force buy, though.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Whenever he's at the Deagle, he's at least found a pick. In this context, it's not going to be a massive deal for them. He's looking for exits at this stage. Try and bait in the CT forces. Does find Han. So a little bonus. 5v3 now. Fiend just cut their losses.
Yeah, this is where Bubble's probably going to have to put a leash on a couple of the players and go, guys, just slow it down. We don't need to be this hungry. 4v1 advantage. Let's not give him 1v1 duels. Let's not aggress the Deagle and drop even more players. For Tizian, he's just hoping for another pick. There's no way he gets a bomb down in this position.
He's got an M4 to save in the next round. Of course, it will wreck his money stay. His teammate's probably going to be on eco anyway. And the buy comes in is where it will start to get awkward for him. But he will hold on to that M4, and Fiend again won't go challenging, like you mentioned. It's coming in close. Actually, Tizian's going to give up his life. Okay, I respect that. I guess the M4 is not great for a T-side line to a certain extent. It would have meant a rifle into this next round, but is it worth that trade-off for losing money? I think not.
I think what he does with that M4 is he is expecting one of the CTs to have an SMG. So if you're able to get that M4 and put it into a position that it can't get recovered and then go back out and fall, then the recovery of that rifle is probably not going to get picked up. You don't want to lopside the economy. Whether it's a rifle or not and you've got some Kevlar, you don't want to put yourself in an awkward money state. Fiend, decent opportunity of being able to get the lead back. And it feels as if this lead is never really gained by any team.
No, like it's always been like a round in the lead. We had that breakaway moment of 4 rounds in a row for Fiend at the very start of the matchup, which I guess could be considered the big lead that we've had so far.
Yeah.
Big have always equalized, but never truly gained an advantage above Fiend. There was those 2 rounds at the start of the half. Fiend have always trying back in. And Big are now down to the basic pistols, probably to concede the lead once again. Might sting them on that front, but the guns come out in the next round, which is where they can try and fight for it back. For now, just Glocks out, no util, no Kevlar. No chance.
Yeah, now it's just a position of when is the act going to come through? When are Big really going to see if they can dwindle it down? They're just trying to waste time, see if they can bait out some util, see if they can bait in any of the CTs just caught sleeping, walking up top mid. For the moment, that's not happening.
And we'll convene up top mid. Plenty of weapons in the crossfire. They do find Dreamer somehow. SMG burst for Han does find his triple. Plenty of money gained now, farming up the cash. Littering top of middle with all the dead bodies of the T-side line. 10 to the border Fiend, they have the lead once again. But again for Big, the guns are out now. This is where it gets serious, but this is where they need to start getting going now.
Now, still quite a heavy bonus round in from Fiend. Something that Big are going to definitely be aware of is that double AWP combo in from Red Star and Han that gets played around jungle, connector, window. We're not going to see it in this round. I like the way that Fiend are trying to really recover their money line and build it up the best that they can.
Economical State can justify it here. AK in the gap and that smoke. Locked off by the Molotov in from the CT side, and I think Tabson's aware of it, will not continue facing him. Just wait back in the apartment's face with his 2 teammates setting up at the default. Will they go underpass? I believe they do.
Yeah, Big seem as if they do want to start splitting their way into an A site just with the positions being held. The one player of Dreamer up close on the balcony could definitely be a factor if it does get overlooked or at least not checked.
Molotov's watching Dreamer. Sat in position, counter molly's back, Han. Headed Sniper's Nest smoke, Ships just jump facing with a smoke in his hand at Ticker Booth. Waiting for that scout to give up the game here. Flashbang. I think he landed one good tag on Ships there. Dreamer. Like a Palace, not detected as of right now. Swing upon Tizian, gets that kill. Advantage now for Fiend. Red Star follows it suit. Gabe there with a responsive, not aware of the player at jungle. Should be aware of the player at CT, but Ships is aggressed here. Struggling with that spray, still comes up with a trade. But Bubbles there responsive, and still they can't deal with Dreamer. Tabson so close. Flashbang ahead. That's one kill. Searson with a scout back to the head. Now needs to get 2 more. And 40 seconds to do it in. Where are the AKs? Where are the better weapons and the one-shot automatics? Sees another individual. They're going to face him together. Bomb in the open. Shot misses out. Han now gains more advantage in the map control and eventually converges in upon the kill. Gets 11-9 for Fiend.
That was a beautiful round from Fiend. So first of all, Tizian spamming away in from Palace, and Dreamer's just hoping for that timing, waiting to catch him off guard that he can go in for the swing. What really impresses me though is the trading game. Gade is getting a lurk up from the top connector. Yeah, he's able to deal with Red Star. Notice the way that Bubble is at least getting Ships struggling, and then Bubble is able to trade out, push forward of that jungle smoke while Ships is having a difficult time from the back of Triple, all working off one another. And now for Fiends, look at the position they put themselves in. They could be in the 3-round lead.
Yeah, eco basis for Big. Name stack in towards middle. Will tag Han at 2 points of HP, but it's still not a kill.
That's unfortunate.
That is very unfortunate. Yeah, 100%. 11-9, probably go 12. You're probably right about this 3-round lead. They have got smokes and flashes. Only one smoke though. Where have they put it down to? believe that might have been connected jungle. We'll take a look in a second. See it pouring over. Top con instead. Tarn just watches AK in hand. Further utility thrown out by the T-side line. Molotovs sent over as Bubble just leans in to try catch them. Tizian does find a pick, and they do find a bomb plant. So this is about to be successful eco here. Red Star and Dreamer with their trades. Keto makes it a 2-for-2. Red Star makes it 3-for-2. And a 3v2 as well for Fiend. See what Keto and Tizian can do in terms of damage being done. Okay. Now they've fought their way back into the round. It's Ships in at jungle, looking at a connector, making a lot of noise. Keto's going to call it in. Here at Tetris, face the pond. Spray goes awry, but it comes up good with the frag in the end. The fuse kit not on Ships either. Was there one drop by his teammates in CT? I think there was. But Searson's repositioned either way to look onto the bomb's position, check out the angle, and I think at this stage he might have wanted the incendiary. Will almost guarantee it here. No smoke to extinguish the flames, and Searson wins the fight for Big to take the eco steal.
And this is just another eco getting one. Fiend won an eco at a force buy. Big have won 2 ecos. It's getting kind of ridiculous with some of these low investment rounds of just how much success are being pulled through. And that's one that's got to be a surprise for Big. You're not really expecting too much to get found from that. The Tech-9 aggression to come out from Tizian towards CT Spawn was everything. And now Bubble's got to take a tactical and realize, guys, we can't be losing these ecos.
Crucial point about it as well is the fact that the only reason why Fiend gave up that particular round is the fact they bunched up for that Tech-9 and made all the mistakes. Down to one misplay. You can watch it again here. Red Star just panicking in amongst Searson's position. Of course, his triple to get the round together. The 10th to the board, a tactical taken by Fiend. As you mentioned, they've got to get their heads back in the game, figure out where they go for this. What can be done? How can they shut down Big again? They've done it time and time again. So I imagine it's definitely possible here. The buy is very limited, though.
Now, Bubble knows those are the kind of rounds that can lose you a game. Just losing scrappy ecos. Red Star with the AWP playing out from window. Hard backing him up from connector.
4 T-side players stacked into the apartments for Big. It could well be the B set piece. Smokes in hand. They're setting up some utilities. The flash is going over. Smoke's coming in a little bit late, and Searson will catch Red Star. Orb in hand. Blindness on both the T and CT side. Bubble will reposition, try to get ahead of the truck. Steps not being caught. Gap in the smoke. Gay gets exploited. He turns back on Tizian, does so much damage. Not quite the frag. At least Han caught one on Keto, and it'll be a 3 versus 3, excuse me. Tizian still alive at 9 points of HP. Smoke's down. Bomb plant will be secured. And they're so far away from the B side. Han gets called off for it.
That's a great lurk out from mid, and even Searson's keeping eyes on towards that marker door position. Ships behind that smoke. Difficult retake for Fiend to work with.
Boomer's looking up. Hoping someone's in ladder him. A re-smoke goes down. Ships can't find a way in. Escaping through market. He's out of there. Tabson trying to switch out to the AWP in the wrong moment. Tabson will punish him. Ships to rotate away. Orp in hand at the 1 versus 3. Best to save. Makes a lot of sense. Big go even again.
And this is possibly some of the mistakes that Fiend can get away with playing against the tier 2 teams, but not up against a team of this kind of a caliber, is you notice how Bubble's the B player, Red Star's the one rotating in, and he's trying to see if he can find an angle post up on that market window, and he just gets out-orped by Searson because he's already there. He's on the angle. There's no way the Red Star's going to win that fight. Bubble tries his best. He gets a kill and a dink off, and then even Tabson, who's lurking in from mid, is just able to find so much time and success when it comes to the picks.
I would have thought those trades with the AWP involved there on the B side would have been enough, but no. Exits coming in, overwhelming. Tizian being low on HP. Should have been exploitable there, but not to be. The eco around the saved rifle. Bought in M4 for Ships at least, so a slight hero investment. And towards underpass, now look towards the mid control. Flash turned away from awkward spray for Keto. Allows Ships to get that first kill and that second. Lines up 2 more. Hard turns the AWP in against Tabson, and this is working out really well for them. USPs against Gailey, such low HP. He could get taken out with a simple tap. He just spots out the AWP, finally takes him down, so it's all left to the USPs. Searson with his Tech-9 turns on Bubble, and it's a 2v2. Molotov a head spray through Red Star, still find the trade back, and Searson holds down control of the round. But for very little investment, that's an expensive turnaround in a lead game by Big.
I don't really know what's happening in this game right now, Jay. This is another round that almost gets won by an eco. You've got a hero M4A1S and AWP that got saved in by that last round. Ships does grand work out from underpass, gets a couple of kills. Harm moves forward. Unfortunately, that lurk up towards the top con smoke and into that stairs angle catches off the AWP up close and personal. And then when it comes down to the 2v2, you can't really expect the USPs of Dreamer and Red Star to get that round together. Still, though, that's a very close round.
Tactical timeout taken here by Big. See NKJ chatting to his boys, of course. Newest coaching addition to this squad, and how effective he has been is still, I guess, being put to the test. An appropriate moment to do so and call in this tactical. They can't lose to rounds like that. They almost did. It's expensive for them. The T-side economy, you can see how it looks. Got high rollers and Searson who stayed alive in that round, but everybody else is no higher than $1,800. So there could be drop pistols, I think, for Searson in the next one. Even Keto taking a MAC-10, it's not great.
Even up to this top mid position, you can see Bubble just trying to see if he can spam away. Actually goes down to 50 himself. I like this play from Ships. This is really aggressive.
Went underpass in the last round and it caught them off guard. Hans Orp is what's going to get the first kill though. Keto done without a connector. M4 in a jungle. A can't beat, can't land his shots, but Ships and Dreamer do chime into it. 4 versus 2 and now down to 1. The exact same strat being played out there by Fiend and Tizzy, and left towards beds, probably to fall down the same. Bombing connector, 1 minute and 20 to try to do something. Surely it's 12 all.
Well, this was over quickly, wasn't it? Tizian getting caught off by Red Star, and we just see the way that Han is posted with that AWP up on that sort of ticket CT area. He's pulling a lot of distraction away, and because all those connector players on the T side are just so focused up in that area of the map, it allows that wrap play to come through. The short players overextend out from the B side. They find a lot of impact. The M4A1S is getting a lot of kills, and that round just fell apart so quickly for Big.
We're seeing a bit of a commonality as well. They fall apart quite easily. What Fiend are ending up doing with these aggressive plays, these flank plays. Again, second time Ships went to underpass and he made it work so well. AK's in his hands and Dreamer's forced in from Big, fast out of the palace control, diving into the A side. Bubble, backline, spray goes awry, but he comes up with that kill in the end. Searson can still find his AWP pick, somehow managing to buy down the big green gun despite the economical damage being done. He gets aggressive against Dreamer for it as well. Double up, bomb plant, hard deals with Kane. AK spray towards Dark, he spotted the AK at Tizian and gets the man advantage back for Fiend.
Saracen's got to step up, really try and see if he can win out this individual fight. They know where he is, the jiggle's coming in.
He's got to reposition, but he falls right into the hands of Han. It's Tabson. Galil versus 3. Bomb not even planted for him either. They stick the defuse here. Engagement, Han wins another fight. His AWP is relentless, and so are Team Fiend.
He is really starting to pick things up in this second half, Jay. He is finding a lot of impact with this AWP. Some clinical shots coming through, and this is something that Fiend are able to bring a lot of the times in the server, is when these AWPs get fired up, the tempo is there. That's when the experience starts moving through for some of the veteran guys. Red Star and Han now double AWPing Ships with the AK.
First time out for the double AWP setup for Fiend. Big had plenty of that on their CT side and still couldn't quite catch up. Now it's Fiend behind by a single round. Eagles in, Glocks and Searson. Red Star's AWP set towards mid. It is an eco basis for Big. They should let Fiend get to 14. His rifles picking them apart. AK gets 1, AWP gets 2, M4 gets 1 more. And Searson does find an exit frag on the way out. But it will still be the round for Fiend. 14-12. Buy involved for Big. This will be their last stand on Mirage.
And you'd have to imagine they're going to be looking at some of their star players in a round like this. Saracen to find an opening pick, Tabson to be able to find some decent trades. Just see if they can find some level of opening opportunity going into round 27. And for the economy state of Fiend, it's in a very good position where for Big, they lose round 27, things get awkward for them.
I think they lose to round 27. They probably lose the game here. We have seen some great force buys and eco rounds over the course of this one, but you can't rely on them constantly to get yourself back in, especially when you'll be down on map point. You can see how carefully Big will take this here. Passive in mid for the bomb carrier of Tabson. Just behind the stack for Searson. Shoulder baiting from the player at underpass. Okay, you're going to set up smokes towards the A site. A window smoke, in fact. Trying to indicate they're going to try and go for some mid control, which Searson is. It's not challenged by the CTs.
And Fiend's very passive this round, not putting a lot of extent down here in this mid position. Dreamer looking to get into ladder, and Red Star at least strikes for early on. The trade comes back from Keto quickly.
Very fast from him, and now we will extend to the sniper's nest but fall right into the clutches of Han. A man advantage regained for Fiend. He does get smoked off. Flashbang will go over to push him ahead against Tabson's position. He's close quarters, and the no-scope doesn't hit. The AK turns it back into a 3 versus 3 as they start to lean into the A side. There's 2 players at CT. One man can make his way in from short. Ship's very aggressive, and Searson marks him off. It's Red Star now, and his Orb not going for the wall banks. Look out towards the cinder blocks and gets Tizian back to a 2 versus 2. Blind fire from Bubble reveals his position as the nades aren't as effective for the CT side.
And they might just get out of this one. Just save onto their weapons. They don't have any util. Yes, they've got a kit, and Tabson's got so much space in jungle.
Red Star's leaning in, actually. They're going to go for this. Tabson. Not even detected! Red Star! All-important frag now. It's all on Searson to step up once again. He's caught the first, but now revealed himself out of Tetris. 1v1. Bubble. Now moving up as Searson watches, time is ticking. He leans forward, misses the flick. 22 HP. Bubble's wasting time though. He's caught that frag. He's got a kit. Does he have the defuse? I believe he might just do here. Fiend will hold themselves at map point.
Oh, what a clutch coming through from the veteran player, the in-game leader out from the Fiend side. Just being able to bait those missed shots in from the AWP, get Fiend up to 15. I'm really surprised they went for that, Jay. Absolutely no util in that 2v2, and what a start it was from Red Star. That pick onto Tabson was everything in the round.
And if only Searson could have held on for an extra second or two, that might have been enough. He did so well to enter onto the site, but the trades were so great for Red Star especially. It's this kill right here that is so shocking. Tabson should have had him locked. But Bubble, being the hero of the game, hero of the map point, tactical pause for Big 3 to bring them back in at overtime. What can you do? What must you do? What is the change up for this side?
Big. It seemed as if things were kind of going quite well for them. Keto was able to find a really good pick onto Dreamer. They're able to exploit some weaknesses out onto the A side. Tabson going quickly. Oh, there's another underpass play for the CTs.
Ship's been played his position to perfection right here. Can't catch Keto this time though, so that's the advantage for Big. Will it stay that way, though? Fiend have always found responses, and the AWP is going to respond right here. Keto better not peek it. Gade. And the bomb on his back. Thinking with peeking with the M4 might be worth it. Just to catch that AWP's position, sacrifice a lesser weapon for the T side line. They spotted him, they know where he is. And Keto can punish 5v3.
Yeah, anytime they know you're there, they just get a slight bit of information. They see a shoulder, you're pretty much done. You need to hit that shot immediately. It's just not going to happen with an AWP. Fiend's now in a very difficult position to recover, and Bubble, he's thinking about trying to see if he can get this trade onto Keto.
Keto's still leaning in. Three-face spots the man and gets the perfect headshot. Stepping up when his team needs him the most. Red Star finally gets that trade, but it's a 4 versus 2. Bombs already in apps. No one's on the B side. They'll set up the set-piece execution. And it's probably a safe call for Red Star and Dreamer, no?
Yeah, you'd have to imagine so. There's not really a way they can go in for this. Searson's going to get dropped, you would have to imagine. Yeah, easy pick for the M4A1S. 2v3, difficult round to recover.
Form up towards top, middle. Don't have that reason to grab the scout. They've got the AWP and the M4 here. Detect spawn. Hope there's someone going to bring out of the apartments. But so long as Big stay on the site and eventually rotate away from Market, they'll be fine. Yeah, Fiend out of this round, called in that save very early into that retake scenario. Well played from Keto. He gets credited with a 13th round.
Yeah, of course he does. You could just see the way that Ships overextends out from underpass. The wide swing comes through from Keto, and he keeps pressure on. He's able to deal with the AWP of Han. He's able to then catch the refragger of Bubble looking for that trade back. And really, Fiend have got to look at that one and think to themselves in round 28 and even round 30 if we have to go to it. Do we need to go underpass again? Do we want to try and see if we can get another aggressive Ships? Or after that round, do they kind of shocked a little and say, maybe we just leave it?
Being very happy, NKJ being a very happy man indeed. Watch these kills from Keto again. Of course, the shot peeking against Han. It was this third kill, man. Like, shoulder bait, perfect head adjustment. Now we're within 2. Big have the rebuy to contest against the double AWP setup back in for Fiend with the M4s across the other 3 players here. Fiend, what will they change up here? What adjustments will they make?
Dreamer playing out from this palace position. AWP's in. Very light on the util standpoint. And Red Star is playing quite passive. So it feels as if they don't want to play this round with over-aggression and actually play it slightly more defensive and on the back foot.
Lean in for Keto, AK. See if he can detect anything up in the sniper's nest. One player that's aggressing towards mid is Han here. He's in connector and he's just putting utility down. It's slow. So slow from Big. No info given up by Fiend. No aggressive plays from them. Just going to hold tight and wait for the hit.
Now, Bubble just jump facing out to this van position. Should be able to catch that information straight away. Relay that over to his teammate of the AWPer of Red Star. He's got a smoke, so he can try and stall the play out from Apps.
Yeah, as soon as he sees contact, he puts that smoke down. AWPer Searson sees the head of one man, does not connect the shot. Second face, trying to draw attention away. There is one player out towards that B site. Second man could be on the way back forward.
No.
Keto stuck past Han, and Han catches the frag, being partially blind. All important pick now. Bubble's going to focus on the B site defensive. Molotov to fly from away. Sees one, not catch that second out of the apartment. Still takes that fight. Can't quite win it. Game needs to provide support, and that's exactly what he does.
Oh, they've got a late lurk in from mid, but Han's able to get another pick on Tizian.
He's looking in from short, looking onto the side. Flashbang ahead of his position. He takes a pop shot. Counter flank in from Searson. His AWP v battle at close range. Got to find Han here, and he's not looking the right way. So focused on Con, but Ships has found the bomb plant position, and Searson bails them out. Looks on and catches him. He could have been perfect on the flank. Taps on that box was so exposed, and Red Star and Dreamer are so close, but they're not acting. They're not pushing forward. They're clearing out bench now, and Tapson shuts him down. Red Star to escape. We go to full 30 rounds. Big on the precipice of OT, and Red Star doesn't stay alive.
What a beautiful round. And that lurk out, that whole play is pretty much won by the AWPer. Sirison, the way that he's able to get back in from mid, deal with Han, and then that play from Ships, that looked like it was going to be the round winner to come through. That looked like it was going to be the map to come in from Fiend, and Sirison's able to get back onto the angle, see that backstab's coming through, deal with Ships, and then the round falls apart for the Bulgarians.
Big just keep fighting. When they made mistakes like that for Keto's part, his teammates on the main phase bailed him out. It was Searson the hero for me. This kill on Han, and then this frag right here. He protected against the flank. Ships would have caught both players on site. At the very least, the player on box. And the Force Invest does feature rifles, but a FAMAS and a Swag 7 for Bubble.
Now, they have got a very heavy lean on this city side out to this B site, and only with one AWP, they're actually going to put it onto Red Star rather than Han.
And full mid control taken by the T side. No underpass presence. They did see that ladder room hole's been popped open. Han is up there. Keto's hoping he gives an extension. Han's thinking about it, but he's not going to go too forward with this.
They're big, just trying to see if they can util down. Han winning that first fight onto Keto. What a great opening opportunity that is for Fiend.
Frag found, advantage for them. It's the M4 of all players. The Big go back to passive, continue to slow this round down.
Yeah, Han might even think about a reface, but it all just comes down to a matter of time. They're trying to see if they can filter him out.
Molotov top and bottom, but he's found the only place where he can maintain his position. They might think he's not even in ladder. Not going to short anyway. FAMAS now, next to face. Up in, soon sees that flick, catches Dreamer, takes a slight tag for his trouble, and Red Star extends, doesn't catch them lined up. Gaden taps him with 2 more frags, and it's a 4v2. Big have full control. Han now, blind spraying, praying for a miracle. But none come his way. It's Bubble in the 1 versus 4. At least catches Tabson, switching out to the AK, but it's been the most miraculous and wonderful clutch in the world, and it's not going to happen. 15 all Big will take us to OT on our first map of the day.
Yeah, what a great round. And it just feels as if the sharpness is really starting to show now for Big as we get deeper into the map. You can see Sirison out there on Connector. He's actually pre-aimed to see for Han to jiggle or at least wide swing out from ladder, catches Dreamer, and then Tabson on the side, being able to put pressure down on that CT spawn area. Fiend struggling to close out here. We go to OT.
Wow. What a ton of events we've had so far. And we did ask and we did hope that this match would be a banger. Blake, do you think it's delivered thus far?
I mean, we're in OT, so of course it has to be. That was some great players coming out from Big to bring it back, to know you're down by that kind of a deficit.
It's only map 1. Fiend's map pick, by the way. And it's been a very long time since I've seen Fiend truly tested on a map like Mirage. Even though they don't play it as often anymore, one of those maps that has constantly been their bread and butter. And Big, in this situation, have done quite the amount of work. Tactical pause being taken by Fiend before we get into overtime. And I guess it's kind of appropriate to do so.
Wouldn't you say they got tested in the opening best of 1 of this event? They lost Mirage to Team Hungry, 13-16.
True.
Ah, yeah, here we go. Can't remember the last time they got tested. Oh, what about day 1? Oh, yeah, they had an 11-4 half and then lost it. They got 2 rounds on T-side.
I've got ADHD. I don't think about these things, okay?
Well, Big, they're thinking about the win, aren't they? The win, at least on this map.
Warp in, M4's out, double orbs of Red Star and Han. In ahead with utility thrown down, smokes up. Tees press forward to mid control. CSM will lead that charge. You've got Red Star behind the smokes that will try and deny. Artov's in as they lean forward. Still won't catch a pick.
And none of the AWPers can find anything, and now the split goes into B. Rotation from Red Star's got to be in quick.
Smoke ready for Bubble, getting out of dodge. Red Star is here to receive from Market. The AWP sees them both, but doesn't connect either shot. Red Star opens it up, Bebel to follow it through. Keto responds back for the Tees to bring a 4 versus 3, but they line up for Red Star, who connects the collateral, and just like that, in the blink of an eye, Gabe's in a 1v4 clutch. Red Star's bearing down upon him. He spotted the man. He's got his quadra. He's got the lead for Fiend.
Oh, he just supports Han so well. Again, for anyone that doesn't really know this Fiend side so well, when they had Mar in the team, before they even picked up Han, Red Star was the main AWP. He's now transitioned into a secondary. He picks it up as a hybrid, and out here on Mirage, both of these players are fantastic on the CT side with the AWPs, and Red Star just shows it right here. They're trying to re-smoke in front of default. They're trying to give themselves some cover out on that short position, and he just does not miss.
The perfect lineup for the AWP. The lead again for Fiend. The buyback, of course, coming in for Big. They got plenty of cash to do so. Ships and Red Star will be the ones to rock the double AWPs here.
And Han, triple AWPs coming into this round, and it does start off with an opening kill for Gade.
Shot down, turned around, sprayed through that smoke, trying to get back out of dodge. Fade the trade frags. Fade the Fiend responsive. That triple AWP not working as well as Han would have liked it to be here. Bubble leans ahead of Connector. Does spot out Gay. Does bring back in the even man standing.
Oh, they know this backstab's coming in. Red Star gonna pre-aim. Keto's dead. He's thinking to himself, how did they know?
Advantage Fiend. And again, he just goes quiet. Again, early action in these rounds, turning around the advantage for one of these two teams. In this particular case, it's Fiend. And Big just go back to the standard passive defaults. They will look to lean in a Connector. Possibly a split towards A.
This is a great off angle for Bubble to look into Con. It all just comes down to a matter of timing. It does seem like the split's on, so it's going to put pressure onto Dreamer and Bubble.
AK and Orb coming in from ramp. Dreamer set in with utility down towards Dark. The player in Connector spotted Ships. He's going to focus on that kill, but Bubble swung! That's the most perfect timing in the world! And he looks for his double, maybe even the triple, might set up Dreamer for it instead. Bubble eventually finds the play. Wow! You talked about timing, you talked about it being so important, and in this case, it was.
That was just such a perfect round coming through from Fiend. Even Ships, he doesn't take fire. Him out in ladder is able to spot that wraparound play. Keto going into market, just getting caught out by Red Star. And then just when it looks like Tabsman's got to play, okay, I've seen the mid play, I'm going to bring it back to a 3v3. Bubble then peeks in and even clears out Connector. What a timing this was.
This could be Fiend going up 3-0 in this first overtime half. Where they played out so far? They're back on the triple AWPs. And Big just don't even know what to do here. Don't know where to go. Shut out of this half and not being the way you want to start off on OT. Bubble does get overwhelmed. And the execution coming in here. Han, Molotov, smoked. Eventually sprayed down by Keto with the wall bangs. A 2-man advantage for Fig. They should get the bomb plant.
Just caught sleeping there on the A site, and now even Big putting so many flashes down to CT spawn, making it nearly impossible for this retake to come through.
Third man so far away. The CTs will boost up, hope to get something back at CT spawn. They know that they're aggressive here. And Ships will move on. Flicks back to Tizzy and misses. He gets a double for his trouble. And Red Star in the 1 versus 5. This is no way he's winning this. It's going to be 16 for Big. They do avoid the shutout half. But even so, Fiend continue to look impressive.
And Big just were able to catch them with an aggressive move. We saw that Fiend had a fair bit of pace on their T side. Didn't see a lot of that from Big in their T side on regulation. And right there, they run out from Palace. They run out from Ramp. You could see the way that Bubble struggles in from default. Even Han, as soon as he gets seen, he's getting caught by the flashes, the molly, the spam, all the bullets, everything. He's no way is he going to get out alive from that triple position. And for Big, at least it's a round. They don't go 0-3 at OT.
Fiend still have the lead though. Big have fought so hard to try and catch up to this. Searson in particular putting in the hard yards in the latest few rounds. Dropped his 30 bomb here in overtime. So well played from Keto and Tizian as well towards this attack side. Tizian got the triple in this round. Seems like the various individuals that step up at the right moments. for the big clan. It will be Keto and CS in that rock, that double orb setup once again. It works so well for them on a CT regulation. Will it work out for them here?
Now, Fiend going quite quickly into this mid-control. Sirison just trying to see if he can get out to connect to the reface in from Han. Only does tag damage.
Leg shot, 16 HP, and Keto's orb can bait and switch. Catch Bubble in the midst of that smoke, swarm at the edge of it, and get the advantage in for Big.
Now, Ship's looking for this trade back. See if he can find an angle up into the short position. Red Star's waiting for Gade to make a jump spot out from the apartment. Something that he was doing on T-side was having an AK, so never really had an AWP in this position.
Molotov stop him from pushing forward any further than his current angle. And someone extends from the CT side, but nobody will. He eventually peeks out against Keto and drops that AWP at last. A 4v4 now. Fiend falling away, and the aggression towards Ram could get punished. Indeed, Dreamer catches Tizian. And after Big struggled so hard in the mid position to gain that advantage, they've conceded it back. They have gained map control, and Tabson finds another responsive.
Oh, this lurkout could drop the bomb. The aggression out from Ramp could be everything, and Han's just looking for a trade back, and that's the bomb being dropped.
There it is for Searson. 3-on-2. Big still hold the advantage, but by a slight margin. Searson on 16 points of health. Gade's also tagged. And these two T-side play the siphon off from each other. The AWP has no backup. If they can find Searson, they can still grab that bomb. Han's looking for trades on Connector though, and he will drop for it. 2 more picks throwing in. Searson with a double. And the 17th to the border. Big, they equalize against Fiends.
Sirison is just so annoying on CT side because he's just pushing everything. He's top mid, he's in ramp, he's in palace. And in that one there, it looks like for Fiend, finally we've been able to get a trade back on B. Things are going okay. Ships get caught going in from top connector, in from the mid play. And then as soon as Red Star's trying to get into a position to regroup up with the rest of his teammates, the bomb just gets dropped.
Wonderfully done again for Searson. More frags to add to his tally. More double orbs brought down. Tested into by Big. Of course, Fiend have their standard AK sets. And mid control uncontested this time by the CT side. You mentioned how they like to go fast into the mid positions. Play out these defaults, but to go back to another thing you mentioned, Dweg, the slow defaults were less effective than the fast rounds for Fiend.
Oh, Dreamer's got to be careful, because he just gets caught off by the AWP. Another opening kill. There is a walkout from top corner.
Oh, almost turned around by Ships. Tabson takes some damage, but stays alive here. Trade for Bubble's good. Gade, however, chiming in. Han with his AWP onto Sears makes it a 3 versus 2. Gade still stuck out of jungle. Drops that bomb to leave it all on Han. And him up for the quadra frags. Flashed out of position. Does manage to find an angle here at jungle. CT players rotated away. He has the bomb on his back.
Just trying to see if he can isolate these 1v1s, see if he can see baiting opportunities, catching off one of the players, and he's just hoping for a mistake. Peeks back into the short position, sees where one of the players is. Oh, the shot doesn't come through.
You can hit him in the shoulder. Try to go for the headshot instead. The flashbangs coming in for him. And nades to suppress, not do that much damage, but just to indicate that they know where he is, and wherever he peeks is going to be hell for him. Sending out a connector, going to lean into underpass perhaps. Try to go to the B site. 25 seconds, the decision has to be made.
Yeah, time is so low. Trying to even get into window. There's a player ready for him. Han needs this pick immediately, and I don't even know if he's going to know that he's there. All the information coming through, he's going to go A.
Look how passive they're playing here, Big. The player so deep in Palace will wait for the bomb plant to be attempted before he even peeks ahead of it. B-hopping's pretty respectable, but 7 seconds. Does get that shot and can secure the plant now. Player so close, he goes for Gade. Needs to win the player at short, he's just going to run away. So smart for Keto, and Gade sacrificing himself for the greater good. It's 18 and map point for Big.
Han couldn't have played that any better, Jay. He's trying to get the 1v1s. He knows he tries to get that bomb down, he's a dead man. He can hear how close Gade is. His only opportunity is to bait out the fight, draw him into the open, and hope that Keto is still posted up on that short angle. He's not at all. Keto running away. Han doing the best that he can. It's still not enough. Big, 1 round away from getting what a steal this could be.
Fiend's map pick. Dust 2 could still be this close, coming up on our second. But for Big, it would be one hell of a start after they struggled against Fiend. Palace dive on the table, and got Tizzy in a line up. Those 2 picks, not even contested by Red Star or Ships. The nades should train him back at least, and Han can chime in against Tabson. But now the AWP Searson locked and ready for the headshot back. Saw the player dropping, but that's where Keto's involved. And it's Dreamer in the 1 versus 3. So far away from anything, this must be it.
You'd have to imagine so. All the players so defensive again, and Big are playing this so similar to the last round, but they're just not over-facing.
Wrapping all the way in from Market, so long as Big hold down the bomb crossfire. That will be enough. Minute on the clock. And Dreamer dreaming for a clutch. Orpin of Quito takes his fight and wakes him up from the nightmare. 19-17, it's big to secure map 1, Fiend's own map pick. And that is a big thing for them, Dwayne. They got Dust 2 coming up. We know how great Big are on this map. We know that Fiend can still take it close, but to take away your opponent's map pick in any context is fantastic. These guys had to fight for it.
Yeah, they did. And honestly, Sirison really impressed me when it came to this map of Mirage. 34 kills and 18 deaths. He really started to blow up in that second half, find a lot of impact, and he was the difference maker there for Big.
I want to say MVP of the map for me on Sirison's part. Like, he had amazing performance, dropping that 30 bomb at the tail end or the start end of overtime there. He did so much work, and he just continued that overall. Is that going to be a big thing for them going forward, though? Is that going to need to be happening on Dust 2 as well?
Possibly. They're definitely going to need him. When you know how much AWPing presence comes from a team like Fiend, you're going to definitely need your AWPer to find a lot of high impact. You've also got a lot of other players on this team that can definitely show up. Tabson was a great example there on T side, really being able to open up a lot of space, find some important kills. And for Fiend, they played well, just not good enough.
Those double op setups as well for Big could be so impactful on Mirage. They can be impactful on Dust 2 as well. Right now, there's a lot of things working towards their favor. For Fiend, though, knowing you were so close to taking your own map pick, like, what do you have to do now to try and adjust for map 2?
I think you've just got to keep the confidence up. They have to realize, okay, we lost Mirage, fair play. It went into OT, it was a tough game. We've got Dust 2. We're not out of this at all. This is still a very good veto. One of the best maps in the pool from Fiend. They've just got to compose themselves and know the start of the series didn't go our way. We need to bounce back.
100%. And they can still bounce back again. Dust 2 is a map that they've been picking into quite a lot. They used to just play Mirage, and now they're trying to implement a bit more in terms of the Pug style maps, the Dust 2s, your Infernos and such. So having those two maps still leans them at an advantage. And I could still see them stealing the second map away, Dwayne. Like, it's very, very likely.
You have a look at what happens there on Mirage. That was anyone's game. When we got to OT, anything was possible. We saw some massive rounds from Han. We saw some great plays out from Sirison. And when you get some of those games where the scrappiness comes through on the ecos, massive rounds comes through, this is anyone's series.
Indeed, it is anyone's map for Mirage, anyone's map for Dust 2, anyone's series in our second of the day. As we head towards a short break and set that up, the analysts will be back to break down Mirage. Look forward to Dust 2 after this.